They got me a job interview. I got the job.
To learn more, visit pva.org. A public service message from Paralyzed Veterans of America.
Get your schnitt together. 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. KOAN. Are you ready? Dan Fagan and Glen Biegel are here. They're going to tear it up, rip it down, and shoot it straight. Fagan and Biegel in the morning on Hot Talk, KOAN. And now, Fagan and Biegel.
Well, good morning and welcome. Glad you found us here. Glen Biegel is not here this week. He's going to take a much-deserved vacation, spend some time with his family, which is of great size. And he will be in week after next, but we appreciate you joining us. Dan Fagan here on a Monday morning. There's Brian Hoff right over there. How are you, Brian? Good morning to you. Welcome to almost New Year.
Morning.
What?
Almost New Year.
3 days left in 2014. How was 2014 for you? Pretty good year?
No.
Sorry to hear that, Brian.
How about you?
I got to think about it now. I'm like, you threw me off a little bit by your year. So what was wrong with it?
Just a lot of things, I guess.
Yeah?
Hopefully next year will be better, more. Yeah.
Just was it an overall, didn't really, what I wanted to happen.
Everything just didn't click the way I thought it would.
Sometimes that happens.
It was close, it just didn't get there.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Sometimes that happens.
Yeah.
Well, let's see. I would say my 2014 was overall a year of ups and downs, a year of extremes. But overall, I try to judge my year. And a lot of people get caught up in this whole, New Year's resolution and how we try to determine how the year was based on what happened. And all that's important, I suppose. But for me, what happened on the inside of me is really the big deal to me, because that's going to be what's going to determine the year after, the year after, and the year after. Circumstances tend to mold and shape us depending on how we relate to those circumstances, how we react to those circumstances. And that would be how I would judge my year in 2014. How did I react to the circumstances that came my way? And I'd say I got a C minus. I should have, obviously I'm shooting for an A. So I'm disappointed in some of the decisions I made in 2014. I wish I would have made some better decisions. I wish I had actually decided to take the high road more often than I did. And so in that regard, I would say, yeah, it's not been the best of years, but I am wildly optimistic for 2015. And you say why? Well, I don't know why. But I just am. I guess it's just something that's, I don't know, maybe it's just something I guess I'm always optimistic about the future. I don't know why that is. Sometimes you think, well, what is your problem? Why would you possibly be optimistic for the future when some of the things that have happened in your life? But I am. I really am. I honestly am. And so I'm excited for 2015. I think it's going to be a great year. I think it's going to be a great year for our state. I think it's going to be a great year for our city. And frankly, I think it's going to be a great year for our country. I do. And things are pretty good. Things are pretty good right now. A lot of people, it's so easy to focus on the negative, but let's look at the planet right now. My goodness. I know there's a lot of poverty, and Islam is rising up and doing horrific things on the planet. And there are places on this planet where there's such evil and literally genocide going on, and it's terrible. It's terrible to see. So I'm not painting a rosy picture here, ignoring the problems that we have on the planet, but overall, the overall state of mankind, especially in the perspective of world history, our planet mankind has gone through some really difficult times, and I don't know that that's the case now. As a general rule, obviously there'll always be poor, there'll always be evil in the world. There'll always be things that we wish were better. But I think as a general rule, mankind is doing pretty doggone well. And I think things are actually beginning to improve. Not everywhere, but in a general sense, I do believe they are. And I think a lot of that is because of the information age, because of the fact that more people now have more information. And they, especially when you look at the free world compared to the world controlled by tyrants, a lot of these tyrants are terrified. Well, look at North Korea and this stupid movie. They don't want the word to get out, and they can't control it anymore. They can't control the dissemination of information globally. And so I think things are going to get better. I really do. You look at the one issue that's most near and dear to my heart is the genocide of young babies inside a mother's womb. The fact that we're winning that now, that the public opinion has begun to change dramatically against the idea of killing a baby out of convenience because you don't want to go through the hassle of putting your baby up for birth and then adoption, so you would end the baby's life. Public opinion on that has really changed in dramatic ways, and I would attribute that almost exclusively to the ultrasound. When you see the baby and you hear the heartbeat, you look at that, and any decent human being can't look at that and go, that's not a life. So we're making some real progress just in the media. You look at you go to the Alaska Dispatch every morning, or some of the television stations or the national media, and you tend to get frustrated because they paint one side of the story and leave out a whole other side of the story, and it's also slanted. But there are so many other media outlets that are rising up that are countering that, and that's huge. Back in the day when it was Walter Cronkite, Peter Jennings, Dan Rather, and Tom Brokaw, and they were the only places we ever got our news, with the New York Times, the Anchorage Daily News. These are all hard left news outlets. We were in real trouble as a nation. But that's not the case at all anymore. I mean, look at Fox News. Fox News has more viewers than CNN and MSNBC and CNN headline news combined. So we're making some real progress, and I think it's important that we focus on that as we move into 2015. Look at some of the progress, because it's so easy to get so frustrated. Look what just happened in the election cycle. My goodness. We kicked the Democratic Party to the curb. Thank you, no thank you, Mr. and Mrs. Leftist. We're not interested in your policies of redistributing wealth. And what do you know? That's huge. So I think we're going to see some interesting things happen here in 2015. It's going to be a good time. The country, as a general rule, is doing very well. The economy is strong. The stock market's ridiculously through the roof. We'll see. We'll see what happens. 569-1080, that's our number, 569-1080. Dan Fagan here at 6:14 in the morning. We're so glad you're here. We'll be right back. We'll be right back.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel. Give him a call, 569-1080, KOAN.
After a hard day at work and then shopping for the holidays, the last thing you want to do is slave over a hot stove. Well, don't worry about it. Relief from this hectic time of year is just a jingle away. Call 333-8000 and ring in the holidays with the Sicily Season Greeting Special. 2 large 2-topping pizzas for only $11.99 each. So relax and let Sicily's deliver hot, fresh, delicious pizza, pasta, calzones, wings, and salads right to your door. It's fast, easy, and affordable. Call 333-8000 and ask for the Season's Greeting Special. 2 large 2-topping pizzas for only $11.99 each. For the only 24-hour-a-day delivery in Alaska, call 333-8000 or save 20% by ordering online at SicilysPizza.com. Best ingredients, best pizza, Sicily's. Wishing you and yours a safe and happy holiday season.
If you're ready for the movies, there's just one place to go. Check out movies8.com. It's showtime. Movie times, previews, and more. Get tickets, win some. Lots of information to explore. Great restaurants. Now you'll know just where to go. Before and after every show. Check out movies8.com. It's showtime.
The Alaskan defender of family, firearms, and the freedom of speech, Eddie Berg.
I don't care who you sleep with. I don't care who you're married to. I don't care what goes on in your private life. The only thing I care about is how you're gonna vote, because that's the only thing that affects me.
Eddie Berg and Friends on Hot Talk, KOAN, 95.1 FM, 1080 AM. You're on with Fagan and Biegel in the morning. Give him a call, 569-1080. KOAN.
$6:17 in the morning. I know it's what everybody's talking about, so we'll get into it, but just give me a little time. I'm just not ready to talk about it yet. CNN's going to be doing. They're going to be doing the story for the next 30 years, nonstop, wall to wall, with this new missing airplane. So we'll get into that later, but not right now. 569-1080, 569-1080. That's the number. Here it's Dan Fagan on KOAN, KVNT, streaming live audio and video. danfagan.us. So I watched the interview. I started watching the interview on YouTube. It cost me, what, like $4.99? Was it $3.99? Something like that.
Yeah, I had it on Google Play.
Oh, I got it on YouTube.
Like on the 24th.
Yeah, somewhere in there.
Yep.
And you saw it. You watched the whole thing?
Yeah, I laughed out loud a few times. I thought it was hilarious. But
really,
Team America was way funnier.
Really? See, now I didn't find it funny at all.
It was a lowball comedy. I mean,
I guess I just don't find it. I guess. I mean, lowball. What does that mean, lowball?
I mean, it's playing to the people that will just about laugh at anything.
Okay. That's what lowball means?
I don't know. Yeah, I guess.
Is that
simple?
Simple comedy. But it was so crude.
Crude is funny. I mean, maybe not. Maybe not if you're religious, But
I don't mind crude if it's funny. But crude for crude's sake, to me, the way that movie, like I thought, Hangover was hilarious. Hangover was very crude, but it was funny. Not because it was crude. It was funny because it was funny, and they employed crudeness. But they did it in a funny way. This movie, it was all about how much more crude can we get, line after line. Who cares if it's funny or not? It's all about being crude. It was as though the crudeness was the goal, not the comedy. Is that a fair assessment?
I don't know. I guess the way I saw it was they were trying to make Kim Jong-un.
Well, I didn't get that far.
Oh, you didn't? Yeah.
I honestly...
You missed all the good parts then.
Okay, well then I must have, because I got to a point where I thought, this is the stupidest movie I've ever seen in my life. And I'll tell you how far I got, where he met the CIA gal, And, he was just so stupid, this interview guy. And then, he did
That's how a lot of guys think.
I guess.
I mean, they're looking at her chest.
I know, but it was just so stupid. And it was just all so stupid up to that point. And I just thought, this is so dumb. I just can't watch this anymore. My time's too valuable for this. And I wanted to see it desperately because I wanted to see what the whole brouhaha was about. But yeah, I just thought it was really maybe it got better. I've done that.
Oh yeah, the best parts were with the Kim Jong character, and
Okay.
they went to check out his car collection, kind of like a lot of TV shows, Pimp My Ride, or you go to their house and they have all these cool cars. Well, and he had a tank, and it was hilarious. He turns on the stereo in the tank and it's playing Katy Perry, and so he has to admit that he likes Katy Perry, and it was really funny. They were singing this song, and it was just goofy.
Now let me tell you what, if I could just rip on PC for a minute. All right, I got this stupid PC computer because it was cheap. I needed one for the phone system. So I got my phone system thought up, and here this window pops up. Your PC has been unprotected for 42 days. It's critical. Protect your PC.
Well, that's right. You hardly ever turn it on, and they always require updates, things like
Right.
that.
Now it's giving me two options.
Yeah.
Renew Norton Internet Security.
No, cancel.
Or turn on Windows Defender.
Yeah, turn on the Windows Defender.
But I don't want Windows Defender. I
Yeah,
just
you
want to
do.
get my computer.
Well, you need that, and then you got your computer.
But but that makes it sound like those are two options.
It's
Look,
like
see, now look.
It's like putting on your sweater.
Now it's saying, do you want to allow the following program? Oh, it gives me the program, I guess.
I know.
Oh, I see. So,
It's a security thing.
but for a normal guy like me who doesn't know anything about computers, that's giving me two options. I don't know what those two options are. Why would PC put me in that predicament? Just to get to my content.
One
Mac
of them you have to
never
pay
does
for,
that.
and the other one's free.
Yeah, but I don't know. It doesn't say one is free and one is expensive.
Oh, yeah.
And so Mac would never do that to me. I mean, literally, I can't get anywhere on my PC until I make a decision between those two options, and I have no idea.
But then once you do it, you're good for a while. You
Yeah, but
just
I don't-
never use the thing.
But the thing is, I don't know which option to take.
Well, just ask me.
If you weren't here, I'd be sitting at home going,
Call
what
me.
option do I take?
You'd have to text me.
Not everybody has access to you.
Well, they should.
Well, they should. So anyway, that's just a sidetrack on PC.
I can fix time clocks on VCRs too.
That's funny. My parents blinked for years.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess every parent's did.
Anything electronic, I can pretty much figure out how to work
You
it.
can handle it. 569-1080, 569-1080. So anyway, and it's funny because I heard it was a couple of days later, the guy who actually wrote the movie, who was on NPR or something, and he was talking about how he was blown away, how that everybody's looking at this movie as a political statement, and he said they were just trying to be funny, but I didn't think it was funny. I honestly didn't.
I didn't think it was a political statement.
No, I didn't either. And he that was his point, and I agree with him. But I'm not against crude. I'm not some prude. I don't mind dirty jokes. I don't mind jokes that are, off color and all that. I'm not like that at all. I don't mind that in the least bit. But just the crudeness for crudeness sake. That was my sense. And I tend to think that's where comedy in the movies is going now. Like the other movie that I saw that I did not like at all, and I actually felt sick watching it, was the other movie that this pot smoking guy made. This is the end. Did you see that?
No, I didn't see that.
Yeah,
That looks stupid.
Yeah, but it was just so crude, and just how can we offend people? How can we insult the norms of our culture? How can we go so out of bounds that people go, what? I can't believe they did that. And
Well, yeah, and that's just Seth Rogen. I mean, just like if you were going to go see a horror movie, that's all they do,
Just
they
try
make
to
horror movies.
gory and
So he makes kind of lowball comedy,
yeah.
fart jokes and whatnots.
What kind of jokes?
Fart jokes.
Oh, well, I don't mind those.
Like if I played fart sound effects all morning, it would get pretty old soon,
I don't know. I don't know that it would.
I'm tempted.
I don't think that it would, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I would laugh every single
I
time.
don't think there's anything funnier than a fart. I remember Sharon Leho and I had a real heated argument on the old show, and I was trying to explain to her how that there's nothing that men, whether you're age 4 or age 84, think funnier than farts. And she just didn't believe me. And I said, "Oh, you got to be kidding me." And we got a lot of people calling in who are men who backed me up on it. She just was so shocked.
Yeah, that appropriately timed noise is hilarious.
Oh, or to catch someone by surprise. That's just as good as it gets. I had a friend of mine who had Crohn's disease, and what that means is he just had
Colitis.
I don't think it's colitis. It's Crohn's. Maybe it's the same thing. I have no idea. But he just had the nastiest smelling discharge.
Yeah, it's
And we were coming home one night at 3 a.m. from poker. It was literally 20 below, and he had a way of locking his windows, and it just literally was a near-death experience for me. But it was the funniest thing I've ever experienced in my life, too, at the same time.
Yeah, my college roommate had Crohn's disease. He called it colitis. Basically, it's your intestines don't work right.
Yes.
And so he couldn't eat cheese.
Mm-hmm.
So we'd order pizza, and he would just take the cheese off of it.
Yeah.
But somehow he would get a little, and I would be like, staying in that room that night wasn't very fun.
No, well, my friend, he worked at Channel 2 with me, and the bathroom was kind of right behind where we.
I know who you're talking about now.
Yeah, yeah, and the bathroom was, we shared a bathroom in our office, and I'd go in there, and it just, you'd literally stumble around and you couldn't stand, and I'd say, well, I'm gonna wait, and I'd go back in. I said, man, you just went in there. I said, no, it was about 2-3 hours ago. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I need a better fan.
Oh, it just lingered. It was alive. It's like that Seinfeld episode with the BO in the car. It's a beast. But it was fun. It was a fun for men. That's a kind of like a superpower, to be able to stink up something to the point where it lingers for 3, 4, 5 hours, or your eyes water, or it's so bad you can't breathe. That's like a superpower to a man.
The extreme side of that was when I worked at the funeral home.
How so? I don't think I want to hear this.
Yeah, you think a fart smell can be bad.
So what just the decay and the...
There's a lot of different factors. Mostly the smell of blood is kind of weird. It's a weird experience.
What does it smell like?
A lot of blood. I don't know.
I didn't know blood had an odor.
Oh, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, whenever they were doing, like if somebody had an autopsy or whatever, and they have to sew them up, or if they're doing embalming.
Yeah.
That's you can smell the inside of the body cavity. That's all the way down. Good morning. How's your cereal, Dan?
Oh my goodness. 569-1080. That's the number. 569-1080. If you'd like to be a part of the broadcast. Glen Biegel's off today. He's taking the week off, spent some time with his family and his daughter who's in town. And
like 1 day per kid?
Yeah, he's a very busy man, 569-1080. Give us a call. We'd love to hear from you on the broadcast. Broadcasting on KOAN, KVNT, also streaming live on danfagan.us. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Fagan and Biegel on Hot Talk KOAN and online at 1080KOAN.com.
With KOAN News, I'm Chuck White.
A celebration of life was held in Polson, Montana this weekend for Wasilla pilot Brett Thoth, who died when his small plane crashed in northwest Montana December 16th. He owned the successful Full Curl Aviation Service in Wasilla. A fund has been set up to assist his wife and 2 young daughters. Folks are pulling for the girl who had to have her legs amputated Christmas Day. That story from Ann Kenda.
Surgeons had to amputate the legs of 11-year-old Angelica Hackinson of Anchor Point after she was severely injured on Christmas when she was pinned against 2 vehicles as another driver was arriving to help after a truck wouldn't start. She had surgery again over the weekend to close up the amputation wounds. The brave girl is hospitalized in Anchorage in critical condition, but said to be in good spirits, and was more concerned about her mother when she awoke briefly and was told that her legs are gone.
That's your Hot Talk News update. Local weather is next.
High winds watch in effect late tonight through tomorrow morning for turning an arm in higher elevations. After a morning snow shower, it will be a partly sunny day today with a high 33. Then tonight, partly cloudy, low 25. Tomorrow, clouds will break for some sun. We'll have a high 35 and a chance for a snow shower tomorrow night, low 28. Wednesday, snow accumulating 2 to 4 inches, high 33. Hot Talk, breaking news, and the latest weather. KOAN, 95.1 FM and 1080 AM.
Isn't it just amazing how many of these ancient Alaskan traditions one runs into? I, for instance, have discovered it is also an ancient Alaskan tradition to serve Alaska king crab and mandarin white prawns for dinner, not only at Christmas, but also on New Year's Eve. So naturally, crab and prawns are exactly what New Sagayan City Market are featuring as specials right now as we draw closer to the new year. Alaska Golden King crab clusters, just the legs and claws, only the parts you like best. Right now, just $15.95 a pound at New Sagayan City Market. And large white prawns, prized, it is said, by Chinese emperors, are just $9.99 a pound this week. Oh, those large, crisp Shingo pears are fast becoming a traditional food as well. Sweet and juicy Shingo pears are special this week at New Sagayan City Market, $6.99 a piece. However, they're so large, it might be advisable to bring a bigger gunny sack. From the butcher shop, it's fresh ground pork, makes glorious hamburgers, just $3.99 a pound. Happy New Year from New Sagayan Midtown and City Market, 13th and I.
As you receive your PFD application this year, please consider donating to the Fraternal Order of Alaska State Troopers through Pick, Click, Give. We're the Law Enforcement Museum. We're preserving your history. We're the Safety Bear Reflector Program. We're keeping Alaska's children safe. Help us continue to make a difference with your support through Pick, Click, Give.
Alaska Legal Services assures fairness for all in the justice system, regardless of how much money you have. With 11 offices statewide, we provide legal help to thousands of Alaskans each year, protecting their livelihoods, their health, and their families. Please select Alaska Legal Services when you pick, click, give.
We all start out small, and we can all grow up to achieve big things. Alaska Children's Trust encourages you to take small steps that can make a big difference. Pick, click, give to Alaska Children's Trust and help kids grow up safe and healthy so they can realize their biggest dreams. Start small, dream big. Pick, click, give to Alaska Children's Trust.
Get addicted to the First Lady of Talk Radio, Laura Ingraham.
Alaska Talk is hot even when it's cold. Hi, Anchorage. This is Laura Ingraham. Join me weekdays for your healthy radio addiction on Hot Talk KOAN.
Weekdays beginning at 2 p.m. on Hot Talk KOAN, 95.1 FM, 1080 AM.
When I grow up, I want to be a pro basketball player.
An elementary school teacher.
No matter what dream you choose or where you are in life, Country Financial helps you and your family grow your own way.
Or maybe a veterinarian.
A mom, a doctor, and president of the United States.
Maybe an astronaut or,
an Olympic gymnast.
You can grow your own way. We know some dreams take a little longer to achieve, which is why your local Country Financial representative offers helpful advice on everything, from auto and home insurance to financial planning, education to retirement, and business insurance too, so that you can continue to grow and dream.
Or maybe an accountant, like my dad.
For more information, visit countryfinancial.com or call 1-866-COUNTRY. Country Financial. Grow your own way.
Glen Biegel, you have beautiful teeth. Why, thank you, Dan Fagan. That's because my family and I have gone to Dr. Dan Kiley for years. I get scared at the dentist. Dr. Kiley knows people like you are afraid, so he creates a relaxed atmosphere at his office. People actually like going to the dentist for Dr. Kiley. I know it's important to have good dental health, and you look better with good teeth. And Dr. Kiley offers cosmetic dentistry along with general care.
Visit Dr. Dan Kiley at lakeotisdental.com. Call him at 562-9209.
Do you remember that Beatles song? If the rain comes, they'll run and hide their heads. You know which one I'm talking about. Well, if that's you, and you're inside your home or office, it's time to call Earhart Roofing. Call Earhart Roofing for all your roofing needs. Flat or pitched, large or small, Earhart Roofing will do the job quickly, and they'll do it right. Earhart Roofing, big enough to serve you, and still small enough to care. Call 345-5555. That's 345-5555. Hot Talk KOAN, man.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel. 1080 K.
Well, good morning to you. 6:36 here on a Monday morning, the 29th of December, which is only a couple of days left here in the year 2014. Glad you're here on Dan Fagan Show. Glen Biegel's off today. He will be off this week, taking some time off for his family. Much needed time. Very hard-working dude. Our number 569-1080. 569-1080. We're broadcasting on KOAN, KVNT. Go to danfagan.us. danfagan.us. And you can find that we are streaming on audio and video there, danfagan.us. Man, KOAN reporting that Andrew Halcrow apparently is going to run for mayor. He's under contract with the chamber right now through Thursday. She writes in her blog, amandacoin.com. In the meantime, mayoral candidate Dan Coffey, who's been at it for a while, will have raised $200,000 by the year's end, unless Halcrow self-funds. The only person who could conceivably catch up to him in the fundraising department is Mark Begich, who has been uncharacteristically quiet about his intentions. That's a tough one. I don't know if Mr. Begich would want to be mayor again. You know, they've been there, done that thing. It's tough to go from being one of 100. I mean, really, when you think about it, other than the president, the U.S. senators are some of the most powerful people on the planet. There's only 100 of them. And then you go, back to being the mayor of Anchorage, which, it's a sizable city, but it'd be a major step down. And Mr. Begich really has kind of made a mess of things the last time he was mayor, and I don't know how he would. I mean, if he goes back in there and starts negotiating all these big-time contracts for these union bosses again, and property taxes go up as much as they did under his administration last time.
Well, haven't people already rejected his policies?
Well, I think on a national level, but I think, frankly, Brian, that was because of Mr. Obama. I think it's just coincidental that so many U.S. senators who, what was it, 30 of the ones who voted for it are no longer voted for Obamacare and no longer in office. So I think Mr. Begich was in the wrong place at the wrong time. Had he voted against Obamacare, he'd still be in the U.S. Senate. I really believe that. Of course, Harry Reid wouldn't be real happy, neither would Chuck Schumer or Barack Obama, but
well, I was talking more for the city and the contracts and how they've voted now. And
oh no, I think if he ran for mayor, he'd win in a landslide.
Oh wow.
Oh yeah, I do. No, I do. I just don't know why he'd want to do that though. I don't know why he would want to go back to being the mayor of a city when you're a U.S. Senator. Man, that's a powerful job. My goodness, you're talking about, because really it all stops in the Senate. Any agenda that's going to further itself in the United States of America, it's got to make it through the U.S. Senate. much more than the House. There's just a lot more House members, and you don't have as much power.
Not if you're Obama. Just make up your own rules.
Yeah, he's definitely been doing that. So I don't know. I don't think Biegel should run. The other challenge, I think, the coffee that Amanda didn't mention is Hollis French. He's got $50,000 in the bank, which is about a quarter of what Dan Coffey has. But French can also fundraise. I don't know. It's interesting because Halcrow, I know the left must love him because as far as social issues, he's as hard left as anyone you'll ever meet. There's just no one. I mean, you name it, gay rights, abortion. He's as hard left as anyone. But yet he also understands, Mr. Halcrow does, that taxes deter investment, and that you can't soak the oil companies and expect to have them invest here in the state. So he gets that. So he endears himself to the pro-development crowd on that front. It'd be interesting to see where his support would come from. It appears that Mr. Coffey will certainly have enough money to paint himself as the conservative. I don't think he is much of a conservative. We have Tom McGrath, business owner out in Spenard, who told us that he didn't think Coffey was a conservative, but he'd probably end up supporting him anyway because Amy Demboski, who I like, there's just not a lot of experience there. One term on the assembly, and you jump in and run the city. I don't know that's gonna fly. She certainly won't have enough money to run against Coffey. So it's looking like it would be very interesting to have a Dan Coffey, Andrew Halcrow, possibly a Hollis French. Who knows? Halcrow, of course, is a registered Republican. We could have two registered Republicans as the front runner, neither being a conservative. Wouldn't that be interesting? That'd drive the Tea Party nuts, huh? 569-1080, 569-1080. It depends on the position. It depends on the position, what you're looking for in a candidate. And a mayoral candidate, the main thing I'm looking for is someone who understands that people cannot buy houses in Anchorage right now, who, unless they're in their 40s and they're an engineer, an attorney, or a physician. If you're a regular citizen, just starting out in their mid-20s, late 20s, early 30s, and you've got 2-3 kids, you really cannot, for all practical purposes, buy a decent home in Anchorage. And a lot of that is because the KOAN Bridge we haven't built that and opened up all that land. And another thing is the property taxes. We have some of the highest property taxes in the nation. So what I'm looking for in a mayor is someone who's going to lower the property taxes, give people an opportunity to own a home. Home ownership, folks, come on, we know this. This is the foundation of our nation, right? Last time I was in China, I was shocked at how many homeowners in China? Zero. That's what makes this country great. You can buy a home. You can plant yourself down on a piece of land and say, "This is mine. I own this. I'm going to put up a house. I'm going to put up a shed. I'm going to plant exotic flowers. I can do anything I want. It's my property. It's my home. This is my stake. My family and I were settling here. This is our land. That's America." And to take that away from young couples, well, you're hurting yourself as a city and a state. That's what I'll tell you, folks. I will tell you. Not building this KOAN Bridge. Chuck Spinelli, the homeowner, contractor, said the second they break ground on that bridge, he's going to start building houses over there. We got to get that done. 644, Dan Fagan. We got to get that done. 644, Dan Fagan.
Give them a call. 569-1080. Join the conversation. KOAN.
Hi, this is Jonathan Martin at Harrington and Company. Sellers, if you are going to sell your home, now may very well be the best time. The current interest rates are still very low in comparison to previous loan rates. Now is the time to take advantage of this uncommon phenomenon. We will look back at this period as a golden opportunity to buy or sell. Homeowners planning to sell should call us at 244-0821. We will be happy to come out and do a comparative market analysis at your convenience. Call Jonathan Martin at Harrington and Company, 244-0821. That's 244-0821.
Grab your skis, wax your board, and hit the slopes. Alyeska Resort is open with limited terrain and hours. Check out their website, alyeskaresort.com, for all things mountain. Now that the mountain is open, that means that the Sitzmark is the place to be. Open every day with no terrain limits. Make it a mountainous New Year's Eve celebration this year at the Sitzmark. Party to the sounds of Wasteland Hop. Then January 2nd and 3rd, see the greatest jam band to ever come through Alaska, Leftover Salmon. PBR specials all week long. Tuesday, Absolute Trivia Nights with $100 up for grabs. During January, enjoy Absolute Vodka Moscow Mules for just $5 and $2 tacos. Check out thesitzmark.com for more information. Sponsored by Absolute Vodka, PBR, and the Odom Corporation. Alaskans serving Alaskans for 80 years. Always live responsibly.
Being a business owner isn't easy. There's managing people, customers, income, expenses, unexpected issues, growing your brand, and so much more. Ready to be more efficient in everything you do? Then listen to Getting Down to Business with David Weatherholt. Each week, David gives you the inside scoop on the latest business news and trends, along with tools for keeping your business on track. Getting Down to Business with David Weatherholt. Saturday from 8 to 10 a.m. on Hot Talk, KOAN 95.1 FM and 1080 a.m.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel on Hot Talk KOAN and online at 1080KOAN.com.
"13 minutes ahead of the hour. Dan Fagan, Glen Biegel. Glen's off today. Do this on KOAN, KVNT. We're also streaming live video and audio. danfagan.us. danfagan.us. Give us a call, 569-1080. 569-1080. Email me, danfaganshow@icloud.com. danfaganshow@icloud.com. I've been pulling for Bill Walker. I've been hoping for Bill Walker. I like him personally. I think he seems like a pretty decent fella. He's a good family man. His wife's amazing. He seems to have great kids. I've met with him many times. Interviewed him more than that. He has something about him that makes you want to pull for him. I love the fact that when he gets in front of the chamber or whatever group it may be, he doesn't read notes prepared for him. He speaks from the heart. Love that. I don't hear a lot of vitriolic, harsh rhetoric coming from him. I don't hear a lot of us against them. His followers, or the backbone people, I should say, they employ that kind of mentality, but I don't hear it from him personally. I've been very discouraged by many of his appointments. Jim Whitaker, chief of staff, wrote this horrid column accusing Mike Chenault, Mike Hawker, Kevin Meyer, one of the most decent men on the planet. All three of them are being basically corrupt because they favor a competitive environment for the oil industry. That's just disgusting, and I just hate that kind of tactic. So I'm not a fan of Whitaker at all. And when I heard that he was the chief of staff, that was like, oh my goodness. But there's an appointment that's been announced. Apparently, it's in the rumor mill that Mr. Walker is going to appoint as his commissioner of administration a fellow by the name of Sheldon Fisher. Now, Sheldon Fisher, who I know personally, had him on the old show a number of times. You'll remember Sheldon Fisher ran against Don Young. I think it was 2010. Let's see, this is what, 14, 12? Who ran against him in 12? You have to remember each year who ran. I think it was Sheldon ran against him in 2010. Parnell was 2008. I think that's the deal. Didn't win, of course. Nobody ever beats. He got about 25% in the primary vote. But Sheldon Fisher is the real deal. He's a good Mormon fellow. Got a gazillion kids, of course. Used to be a big-time executive at ACS. Very conservative. A lot of integrity. And for Bill Walker to employ Sheldon Fisher as his commissioner of administration, that is a big deal. And should give conservatives quite a bit of hope. Because Sheldon Fisher, he's just one of these guys. He's a good guy. He's a conservative man. He's been working in McKinley Capital. Very smart guy. Very smart guy. So that gives me some pretty exciting optimism. Now, Walker worked with Sheldon Fisher. This is according to Amanda Coyne, in support of Alaska Family Council's Parental Rights Initiative. You remember that, where the Hollis French and others with Planned Parenthood said that your baby, your 12, 13, 14-year-old child should be able to go get an abortion, and you shouldn't know about it. That's what they actually argued for. Can you imagine? So Walker opposed that ferociously, as did Mr. Fisher. So these guys are on the right side of the issue. Can you imagine that, by the way? Can you imagine? For a politician to say that I believe your 13, 14-year-old daughter, 15-year-old daughter, if she gets pregnant, should be able to go to an abortion clinic and have that baby's life ended, and you would never know about it, ever. Can you imagine? Talk about the government getting between you and your child. How do you argue for something like that? So Walker opposed it. Sheldon Fisher opposed it. And of course, it failed. The initiative, people said no. And Planned Parenthood, the most evil organization since Nazi Germany, they spent $1 gazillion trying to promote it. But it did fail at the ballot box, fortunately. You say, Dan, how can you say Planned Parenthood is the most evil organization since Nazi Germany? Well, they've killed many more. No, I don't know of an organization that's responsible for the death of more humans than Planned Parenthood. I don't know of any. You say, well, they don't realize it's death and murder and killing. I suppose. But the results speak for themselves. So that's good. That's good. We're excited. Bill Walker's getting, sprinkle in a conservative here or two in his administration. It's going to be, I'm so disheartened about him killing all the big projects that are. The thing about the big projects, the road up there on the mining and then the Kinnicon Bridge and the dam and all that, there's no political payoff for that immediately. When you spend that kind of money, it's all for the next generation. And there's no political payback. And when I say payback, I don't mean anything illegal, but there's some things you can do now and you benefit from it politically. In other words, if you give state employees a big raise, then the union bosses are happy and they're going to give you more money the next time you run. And so that's an instant payback. But when you build big projects, it's not really that big of a deal initially for anybody who's controlling the purse purse strings. So there's no instant gratification politically. Gratification is not the right word, I suppose, but so I can see how that killing the Kinnickinnick Bridge and all that stuff. But when you talk about, and if you're going to look at government, what it's supposed to do, my opinion, government should be focused on making a better way for the next generation. Make it a better way for the next generation. Fascinating article on Michael Jordan I read last night. And he's miserable. Michael Jordan, greatest basketball player in the history of mankind. He owns an NBA team. And he plays a lot of blackjack, and he runs his team, and he tries to keep himself stimulated, but he's miserable because he went from being in an environment where every day, for many, many years, he was competing on such a high level, and now that competition is taken from him because of his age, he just can't get out there and play at that level he turned 50, by the way. That's the reason they did the article. And he says, I'm miserable. I miss basketball. And he talks about his legacy and how he'll be remembered as the greatest basketball player for a couple of few more centuries maybe. And one of the things that it quoted is that he has his company, of course, and he has Reebok, Nike, and he has, he does stuff. He gets money. So money's not a problem for him. But he told his employees they have to call him Yahweh, which is Jewish for God. Because he has this sense of having to be the most important guy in the room, like he was all those years that he was playing basketball. And his big thing is his legacy. He wants to be remembered as the greatest basketball player. It's the complete opposite of what I'm trying to describe to you, which is make a better way for the next generation. Not try to be someone who's remembered for your legacy. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, I suppose, but it's not the focus. The focus should always be of all of us, whether it's politician, whether it's school teacher, whether it's somebody like Glen Biegel, who's got 9 kids who are going to make tremendous contributions to this planet, with their kids and their grandkids and their great-great-great-kids, making it a better way for the next generation. And Mike Jordan, he's lonely now and miserable. His goal is I want to be remembered. I want to be famous. I want to keep that buzz going that comes with fame. He's off. He's off kilter there. Because that dies. Let me ask you a question. How many people living 300 years ago do we remember today? A dozen? If that? How many of the people living 300 years ago will we remember 200 years from now? None? And what does it matter anyway? I never understood that legacy thing. Once I'm gone, I'm gone. We gotta think about the next generation, in my opinion. That's really the goal of all of us, not just politicians, but politicians are in a unique position to make that happen. A better way for the next generation. 6:58, Dan Fagan. Make that happen. A better way for the next generation.
Anchorage Downtown Partnership is throwing a New Year's Eve celebration that you don't want to miss. You could be part of this festive occasion to kick off Anchorage's 100-year celebration. Anchorage's New Year's Eve celebration is fun, family-friendly, and free event in Town Square, held on December 31st from 5 to 8 p.m. Enjoy live music by local bands such as H3 and the Spinners, street performers, food trucks, light shows, and more. Last but not least, the show-stopping fireworks spectacular that will end the evening with a bang! This premier New Year's Eve celebration is the only show in town with the official New Year's Eve fireworks. The fun begins at 5 p.m. in Town Square Park on December 31st and ends at 8 p.m. with the Anchorage Downtown Partnership Fireworks Spectacular. You don't want to miss out. For more information on this event, please visit anchoragedowntown.org or call 907-279-5650. Brought to you by Anchorage Downtown Partnership, Visit Anchorage, the Alaska Railroad, Linden Transport, and Alaska Integrated Media.
You're listening to Hot Talk, KOAN, Anchorage, AM 1080, and retranslated on 95.1 FM on K236CG, Anchorage.
Fox News Radio, I'm Dave Anthony. The rescues are over, but not everyone survived a Greek ferry disaster. It's now 7 dead among the more than 400 passengers finally airlifted off the ship.
A fire broke out early Sunday morning on the car deck of the Norman Atlantic ferry that was heading from Greece to Italy. The 24-hour rescue effort was hampered by rough seas, heavy rain, and strong winds.
Fox's John Huddy says there was a lot of fear amid the flames.
As one passenger put it, there was panic and chaos as people desperately tried to get to safety when the fire quickly spread. It's unclear what started it, but the investigation now begins.
A Virgin Atlantic jumbo jet has just landed safely in London, despite a landing gear problem that forced the 747 that was headed to Las Vegas to turn around and return. It is midnight in Singapore, where that missing AirAsia flight was heading. So in the dark, the search has been called off for a second night. Fox News Radio's Alistair Wanklin live in our Asia Bureau.
Dave, the search zone is off the coast of Indonesia. Military planes are flying 1,500 feet above the waves. Today's crews spotted oil and maybe some debris. They may expand the search area tomorrow because the plane could have headed for land. There were 162 people aboard, no Americans, but Indonesia says it may need U.S. help to recover the plane when it's found. Meanwhile, this is another airline tragedy for Malaysia. That's where AirAsia is based. Malaysia Airlines Flight 17 was shot down over Ukraine, and Flight 370 remains missing, Dave.
Alistair, Boston Marathon bombing suspect Dzhokhar Tsarnaev's defense team has again asked the judge to postpone his trial. Jury selection is supposed to start next Monday. The day after the NFL's regular season ended, there are 4 coaching vacancies. The New York Jets fired Rex Ryan this morning and general manager John Idzik. The Chicago Bears have also punted their coach and GM Mark Trestman and Phil Emery. The Atlanta Falcons also canned Mike Smith. Last night, the San Francisco 49ers and Jim Harbaugh parted ways. He's reportedly set to become the University of Michigan's next coach. Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
Private mortgage insurance, or PMI, can cost you thousands. But with the PMI Advantage from Quicken Loans, you may never have to pay those expensive monthly mortgage insurance premiums again. Hi, I'm Jay Farner, president of Quicken Loans, and I'm excited to tell you that the Quicken Loans PMI Advantage is our lender-paid mortgage insurance program. You see, we pay the PMI so you don't have to. Make the smart call and talk to one of our home loan experts today at 800-QUICKEN. You'll learn how the Quicken Loans PMI Advantage can give you more options, more flexibility, and may save you thousands when you refinance. And for 5 years in a row now, J.D. Power has ranked Quicken Loans highest in the nation in customer satisfaction. And this year, for the first time, they've also ranked us highest in mortgage servicing. To learn more, call us at 800-QUICKEN. That's 800-QUICKEN, or visit us at QuickenLoans.com.
Visit jdpower.com for award information. Important terms and conditions apply. Calls for cost information. Equal housing lender licensed in all 50 states and West number 3030.
President Obama will ring in the
Best Split Firewood can deliver split firewood to your house today. And if you live in Anchorage, delivery is free. Wait, what did I just say? Delivery is free if you live in Anchorage. Wow, that's cool. Okay, back to the commercial. Best Split Firewood. Call now, 727-5928. That's 727-5928, and get 2 bundles of starter sticks with your order. Hold on, 2 bundles of starter sticks and free delivery in Anchorage? That's way cool. Best Split Firewood will deliver mostly all birch split and ready for your fireplace or wood stove, no matter how much you need. A quarter, half, or full cord. They have the best firewood in the city, and they'll even mix in some spruce if you ask for it. And don't worry if you just need a couple of bundles. Best Split Firewood has them wrapped and ready to go at half of what you would pay anywhere else in the city. Best Split Firewood. Call today for free delivery in Anchorage and 2 bundles of starter sticks. 727-5928. That's 727-5928.
Visit their new location at 2000 East 68th Avenue in Anchorage. And the next question is, what do a cookie, a stick of gum, and a French fry have in common?
Oh, you eat them!
You find them between couch cushions?
No, they all cost more than filing your taxes. When you use IRS Free File, it's free. Get a choice of brand name software and help if you need it. Join the 40 million people who have already saved. Free File. It's fast, it's safe, it's free. Get started at freefile.irs.gov.
When I grew up, I want to be a pro basketball player.
An elementary school teacher.
No matter what dream you choose or where you are in life, Country Financial helps you and your family grow your own way.
Or maybe a veterinarian.
A mom, a doctor, and President of the United States. Maybe an astronaut or, an Olympic gymnast.
You can go your own way. We know some dreams take a little longer to achieve, which is why your local country financial representative offers helpful advice on everything, from auto and home insurance to financial planning, education to retirement, and business insurance too, so that you can continue to grow and dream.
Or maybe an accountant, like my dad.
For more information, visit countryfinancial.com or call 1-866-COUNTRY. Country Financial. Grow your own way.
Happy holidays from Specialty Truck and Auto. Please help me make sure our military members know how much you're appreciated this holiday season. While you're out Christmas shopping or celebrating with family and friends, join me in shaking the hand of a military member and give a heartfelt thank you each and every chance you get. If you happen to see a military member out enjoying a meal, you might consider quietly paying for their meal as a sign of your gratitude for the sacrifices they make for each of us every day, which allows each of us the freedom to celebrate this holiday season in whatever fashion we choose. Thank you from Specialty Truck and Auto.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel in the morning. Give them a call, 569-1080. KOAN.
Well, good morning to you. Welcome, Dan Fagan, Glen Biegel. Glen's off this morning here on KOAN, KVNT. We're streaming live, danfagan.us. Our telephone number, love to hear from you, 569-1080, 569-1080. That's our number. You can email me, Dan Fagan Show. Fagan is Fagan, Dan Fagan Show at iCloud.com. Dan Fagan Show at iCloud.com. 2014, are you ready for this? This is good news to me. This is good news in a way I could not tell you how excited I am. And I know a lot of the climate change cult members, the global warming cult members will find this horrific, but this is really good news for me. Alaska Dispatch reports 2014, we only have 2 days left, be the first year ever with no below zero temperatures in Anchorage. Oh, man, that's music to my ears. I remember when I first moved here, I think it was the first 20 days, it didn't get above zero for a high. I had been here like a week, and this cold spell came in, and literally 20 days, it never got above zero for the high. And you have to remember, I'm not very bright, and I'm not, especially when it comes to weather and dressing. My parents have been very frustrated with me through the years that I don't wear adequate gear, as in a coat. So I get up here, I got like a members-only jacket. You'd wear if it was like going to be 55 outside and windy. No gloves, no hat, no regular shoes. I remember I was standing out in Mountain View. I came from Louisiana, folks. Very warm place. And I'm standing out there, and I remember standing on the ground and lifting my feet. In other words, I couldn't put my feet in the ground very long because it was so cold. And these basically dress shoes that you would wear with a suit is what I was wearing. And I'm standing there, I'm like lifting my feet as fast as I can. And you got to have your feet on the ground at some point. Unfortunately, I don't have the power of levitation. But I'm thinking to myself, this place is so cold, you can't even stand on the ground. And I quickly learned that, it's not that bad if you get the right gear. You get some boots and hats. But when I moved up here, I remember I had a trench coat. Not a trench coat. It wasn't a members only. It was remember the show NYPD Blue where they had those coats you put over a suit. It was a trench coat. That's what they call them. It was a black one. It was very nice. I remember I got it in Dillard's right before I moved up here, thinking, "Wow, I'm gonna need a coat." So I go get one of these, and it really literally leaves the chest area exposed. It's just totally wasteful for any real cold weather up in Anchorage. But that's what I bought. And people were laughing at me, and they just thought I was the dumbest thing in the world, and what is wrong with you? 20 days, did not get above zero. And now here we are in 2014. To go down in history as the first recorded calendar year that the temperature never officially dipped below zero in Anchorage. This is according to the National Weather Service. The last time the official temperature in Anchorage read below zero was December 26th last year. Not a single day in 2014 has dipped into negative temperatures. And those of you who have lived here any time at all know that there is a huge difference between 5 below zero and 20. Massively huge difference. Meteorologists did record a reading of 0 degrees, the year's lowest, on February 11th. So we did get to zero, but not below. Forecast between now and New Year's Day, nowhere close to zero. So January 1st to December 31st, since 1952 that they've been keeping these records, not a single day with recorded low temperature below zero in Anchorage. And I want to talk about climate change and global warming, whatever it is. I know that many of my friends on the left, they're so wrapped up in that and believe that we should really come down hard on the oil industry and any kind of factory or plant or anything that has anything to do with resource development because of global warming / climate change. I don't know what they call it these days. And it really is almost a religion for them. It's a really big deal. And I know Alice Rogoff over at the Alaska Dispatch, it's a really big thing to her too. She's a major believer in the climate change, global warming thing. And I will admit to you right off the bat, folks, I do not know the ins and outs, because you can line up 1,000 scientists who get funding from government to prove that climate change is a problem. You can get 1,000 scientists who get funding from government who will prove anything's a problem. And when I hear Barack Obama say things like, well, the debate's over, well, yet you read on conservative websites there are many scientists, or people in the scientific community, who do not believe it's a done deal. That the debate is over. But it's hard for me, just a layman, to try to argue that, of course the left will say, it's science, it's science, it's science. Well, okay, I'm not a scientist, so I can't really debate you on that, but this is an amazing position to take, and people have criticized me harshly on it, but I'm just being sincere. My problem with the cult of the global warming climate change folks is that 95% of them are wrong on every other issue. They believe a baby inside a mother's womb is not a life. Huh? They believe redistributing wealth is just fine, and it won't hurt your culture or society. They believe taxes do not deter investment. They believe we should coddle Islam and not try to do everything we can to protect ourselves. They believe in wide open borders. The global warming climate change folks, the left, are just about wrong on everything else. I can argue pretty competently why redistributing wealth is devastating to a culture. I can't on climate change. So yes, I will admit to you that one of the reasons that I'm still open-minded about it, but I am saying that no, I do not want to drastically harm our economy because of climate change, is because those promoting that are wrong about just about every other issue. 714. Wrong about just about every other issue. 714.
Fagan and Biegel. Give them a call. 569-1080. KOAN.
You know, after a hard day at work and then shopping for the holidays, the last thing you want to do is slave over a hot stove. Well, don't worry about it. Relief from this hectic time of year is just a jingle away. Call 333-8000 and ring in the holidays with the Sicily Season Greeting Special. 2 large 2-topping pizzas for only $11.99 each. So relax and let Sicily's deliver hot, fresh, delicious pizza, pasta, calzones, wings, and salads right to your door. It's fast, easy, and affordable. Call 333-8000 and ask for the Season's Greeting Special. 2 large 2-topping pizzas for only $11.99 each. For the only 24-hour-a-day delivery in Alaska, call 333-8000 or save 20% by ordering online at SicilysPizza.com. Best ingredients, best pizza, Sicily's. Wishing you and yours a safe and happy holiday season.
If you're ready for the movies, there's just one place to go. Check out Movies 8.
Hi, this is Jonathan Martin at Harrington & Company. Sellers, if you are going to sell your home, now may very well be the best time. The current interest rates are still very low in comparison to previous loan rates. Now is the time to take advantage of this uncommon phenomenon. We will look back at this period as a golden opportunity to buy or sell. Homeowners planning to sell should call us at 244-0821. We will be happy to come out and do a comparative market analysis at your convenience. Call Jonathan Martin at Harrington & Company, 244-0821. That's 244-0821.
Hot Talk KOAN, man.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel. 1080KOAN.com.
7:17 in the morning here on Dan Fagan, Glen Biegel on KOAN, KVNT, streaming live on danfagan.us. Glen is off today. Give us a call, 569-1080, 569-1080. Daily News, big promoter of the climate change, global warming movement. And today they've got a piece out saying this is first year they've been keeping records since the 1950s that Anchorage did not have a high temperature below zero, as being 2014. You know, and I know I get a lot of heat for this. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it, 569-1080. And, of course, on the Daily News story, there's all these people there arguing on both sides of whether climate change is real and global warming is real. And let me just say right off the bat, of course climates change. That's what they do. So the idea that the climate is changing, well, it isn't. If climate stayed still, we should be worried. If it was 72 every day, and that's when we worry. Climates change. They just go up and they go down. They're just changing by their very nature. The problem with the global warming climate change folks is that they want drastic changes to our society and our culture in the way of controlling things more. They say we have to control oil companies and resource development and coal and all this stuff by taxing them. Basically, Mr. Obama, who said at one point on tape, this is before he ran for his first office, or his first term, that, you know, you can build a coal plant if you want, but we'll make it where you won't be able to make any money at it because it will tax you so high. And that's a paraphrase, but it's basically the meaning of what he said. So these global warming climate change cult members, they literally want to just stick it to the resource development industry. They want to control everything. This is what cap and trade is all about. And it is, anytime a movement embraces control over freedom, I'm very skeptical of that movement. You know, control is something, you can't really love someone and want to control them. I don't care if it's a marriage, whatever the relationship you have with the person. If your goal is to control that person and not let that person be free to who they are, then your motives are wrong. And that's my opinion. So the global warming climate change cult member folks, I can't get on the ADN blogs and argue about this scientific fact versus that scientific fact. There's scientists on both sides of the equation who have very different numbers. It's like when you argue with Bill Wielechowski or Hollis French about the oil patch. They have just total different information than those who believe that taxes deter investment. And when you really drill down to it, typically what Wielechowski and French will do is they'll leave out much of the information that's pertinent to the story. And that's how they get away with what they do. And I suppose that's probably the same with the global warming climate change folks, but I'm not a scientist. I can't drill through all that. I know that they've had to change their name once. That's probably not a good reflection of their movement. Remember, it was global warming. Well, the planet's not warming anymore. And the idea that the climate change global warming cult members was promoting was that the planet's melting so quickly the seas will rise and they're going to wash out major parts of the U.S. coast. Remember, The Inconvenient Truth, Al Gore's movie, which so much of it has turned out not to be true, what he predicted. Of course, the global warming climate change cult members now tell you, oh, Al Gore's not our spokesperson. Don't go by his movie. And he was predicting New York City would be flooded by now, because the seas were going to rise because of global warming. Well, the warming stopped, and it's now cooling, and, it'll be warming, cooling. So the idea that the seas are going to envelop us, well, that we can't go with that anymore. So, but my thing is, if you align yourself with any kind of movement, it's about control. We can't trust people. We must control them. That's a red flag for me. That's a big red flag. So, I feel inadequate. I wish I could, if I were a scientist, I think I could probably do a better job of telling you why I was skeptical of the global warming climate change folks. Anytime your worldview or your belief system is a fear-based one, I think you're probably off. Got so many people walking around whose worldview and outlook on life is fear-based. Dread. That's a great word, dread. I wonder what the official definition of dread is. There's a lot of dread going on around. Anticipation with great apprehension of fear. Great fear, apprehension. A person with dreadlocks. They'll go with the first two. Dread. There are a lot of people walking around literally with dread in their hearts. Oh, the state is going to be in so much trouble with the oil prices going down. We're going to have a total meltdown of our society and culture. No government services. People will have to get in U-Hauls. Oh, it's going to be so bad. The climate's changing. The seas are rising. We're all going to be underwater. We have to give up some of our freedom. We have to let the government control more. If we don't, it's going to be so bad. So bad. That dread that things are going to get so bad. I don't think that's good. I don't think that's a good way to live. Well, let's look at it. Let's look at it in just a common sense way. I can personally tell you, me, personally, from experience, Dan Fagan, from personal experience, 99% of everything in my life that I spent energy and time worrying about ended up being something I didn't need to worry about. Now, I'm not quoting any statistics that I read in the paper or in a study or a report. I'm telling you personally, 99% of everything in my life that I sat down and had grief and dread and worry over. In the end, total waste of time. Either what I worried about didn't come true, or it did come true and it ended up not being that big a deal. Didn't really have that life-changing effect I thought it would. So when a movement comes to you and says, you need to be... I used to love Paul Harvey. Paul Harvey, the most proficient newsman in the history of the country. Whenever he was given bad news to report, he would always say, as if you don't have enough to worry about, here's something new. And then he'd give the report, the study, as though it's all just ridiculous. But to spend your time in dread and worry, that anticipation, that apprehension. I love that definition. Anticipate or with great apprehension or fear. I used to have a friend of mine who, whenever I'd call him, he'd say, "Oh, what's going on? Everything all right?" It's like he had that built-in worry with him. Like, why would you be calling me? Is everything okay? That's the way to live. And I personally am a believer that what you anticipate, what you expect, is probably going to be what you get. Now that's, I can't really, I suppose there's a spiritual component to that belief, but I do believe that. If you believe good things are going to happen, if you're anticipating better days, if you're looking forward to improvement in your life, improvement in yourself, improvement in your circumstances, improvement in your financial condition, improvement in your job condition, and that's what you're looking for, and you're acting accordingly, you're moving in that direction, and everything you do is in anticipation of greater things to come, I believe greater things will come. If the opposite is true, and you live in dread, then I think that could also be self-fulfilling prophecy. So when the Brad Keithlys of the world and all these people tell us, oh man, it's going to get so bad. Oh, it's going to get so bad here in Alaska. Oh my goodness, the price of oil. Oh, what are we going to do? I would just remind you that we are one of the wealthiest provinces on the entire planet. We have more resource development when it comes to coal, mining, rare earth minerals, oil, gas, timber, tourism. There's a story out just a couple days ago that Alaska is now ranked above Las Vegas as the number one desired tourist destination. We got a lot going for us up here, folks. We really do. And to live in dread, as they used to say back in Louisiana, that don't make no sense to me. It just does not. I understand we have challenges. I understand that there are people in our state who are here to sabotage and to prohibit us from getting our resources to market. Most of them live in the Democratic Party. I understand that. But they don't have any real power up here. Look at the legislature. Look at the legislature. We're going to be fine. So I would just say, let's not live in dread. Let's not worry about it. I mean, I'm not saying bury your head in sand, but let's anticipate. Let's anticipate some great things. I tell you that I do believe, honestly, in 2015, it's going to be a great year for the state of Alaska. I honestly believe that. 569-1080, 569-1080. Glen Biegel's off today. You listen to Fagan Biegel in the morning right here on KOAN, KVNT. Streaming live, danfagan.us. My email, danfaganshow@icloud.com. danfaganshow@icloud.com. I'd like to hear from you. 569-1080. 569-1080 at 7:30. 569-1080 at 7:30.
Mercedes-Benz of Anchorage. The best or nothing.
From the Fox Business Network, stocks are modestly higher. The Dow is on track for its 8th straight day of gains, but volume is expected to be light due to the holiday-shortened week. At around 11 a.m. Eastern, the Dow Industrials are up 10 points after Greece failed to elect a new president. Shares of Manitowoc are rallying today. Carl Icahn disclosed a 7.7% stake in the industrial equipment company. Icahn says he plans to talk to Manitowoc's board about splitting the company's crane and food service businesses. He may also seek representation on the board. Gilead Sciences is also trading sharply higher. The company has been named a top 2015 stock pick in Barron's. Morgan Stanley upgraded the stock to overweight from equal weight and raised its price target to $104. The firm says concern over a pricing war among hepatitis C drugs presents a buying opportunity. With the Fox Business Report, I'm Jolene Kent.
This holiday season, give the most eternal, unique gift of the year. Name a star after someone. I'm Rocky Moselle with International Star Registry. For $54 and a call to 800-282-3333 or visit starregistry.com, we'll name a star after anyone on your gift list. The star name will be recorded in book form in the U.S. Copyright Office, and we will send an incredible personalized gift package. Call the Star Registry, 800-282-3333 or visit starregistry.com for the gift that shines forever.
With KOAN News, I'm Chuck White. A man convicted of rape for allegedly attacking a woman in Sitka in 2009 will get a new trial. An appeals court found the jury in Wilbur Dean Jackson's trial received incorrect instructions on how to proceed, and therefore a new trial must be held. The University of Alaska Fairbanks is appealing its NCAA postseason bans for its women's basketball and swimming teams. The university says the sanctions were due to some errors on its part and not related to anything athletes did. School officials believe the postseason bans are excessive and are trying to get the punishment reduced. A public meeting is planned next month on a proposed Fred Meyer store in Palmer. Design plan for the 100-square-foot store will be unveiled at a meeting at the Palmer Senior Citizen Center, January 14th. The store is planned for the corner of Palmer-Wasilla Highway and South Glen Highway. That's your Hot Talk News update.
High wind watch in effect late tonight through tomorrow morning for turning and arm in higher elevations. After a morning snow shower, it will be a partly sunny day today with a high 33. Then tonight, partly cloudy, low 25. Tomorrow, clouds will break for some sun. We'll have a high 35 and a chance for a snow shower tomorrow night, low 28. Wednesday, snow accumulating 2 to 4 inches, high 33. Hot Talk, breaking news, and the latest weather. KOAN 95.1 FM and 1080 AM.
Isn't it just amazing how many of these ancient Alaskan traditions one runs into? I, for instance, have discovered it is also an ancient Alaskan tradition to serve Alaska king crab and mandarin white prawns for dinner, not only at Christmas, but also on New Year's Eve. So naturally, crab and prawns are exactly what New Sagayan City Market are featuring as specials right now as we draw closer to the new year. Alaska Golden King crab clusters, just the legs and claws, only the parts you like best. Right now, just $15.95 a pound at New Sagayan City Market. And large white prawns, prized, it is said, by Chinese emperors, are just $9.99 a pound this week. Oh, those large, crisp Shingo pears are fast becoming a traditional food as well. Sweet and juicy Shingo pears are special this week at New Sagayan City Market, $6.99 a piece. However, they're so large, it might be advisable to bring a bigger gunny sack. From the butcher shop, it's fresh ground pork, makes glorious hamburgers, just $3.99 a pound. Happy New Year from New Sagayan Midtown and City Market, 13th and I.
When I grow up, I want to be a pro basketball player.
An elementary school teacher.
No matter what dream you choose or where you are in life, Country Financial helps you and your family grow your own way.
Or maybe a veterinarian.
A mom, a doctor, and president of the United States. Maybe an astronaut or, an Olympic gymnast.
You can grow your own way. We know some dreams take a little longer to achieve, which is why your local Country Financial representative offers helpful advice on everything from auto and home insurance to financial planning, education to retirement, and business insurance too, so that you can continue to grow and dream.
Or maybe an accountant, like my dad.
For more information, visit countryfinancial.com or call 1-866-COUNTRY. Country Financial. Grow your own way.
Glen Biegel, you have beautiful teeth.
Why, thank you, Dan Fagan. That's because my family and I have gone to Dr. Dan Kiley for years.
I get scared at the dentist.
Dr. Kiley knows people like you are afraid, so he creates a relaxed atmosphere at his office. People actually like going to the dentist for Dr. Kiley.
I know it's important to have good dental health.
And you look better with good teeth. And Dr. Kiley offers cosmetic dentistry along with general care.
Visit Dr. Dan Kiley at lakeotisdental.com. Call him at 562-9209.
Why is A&A The Shop Alaska's independent Subaru specialist? How is it they've been voted the best shop in Anchorage not once but 6 times? Well, it's pretty simple. They offer the best warranty in the business. If they work on your Subaru, you're going to get a 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty on both parts and labor. That's unheard of. A&A The Shop deals exclusively with Subarus, and they also offer $35 oil changes. All their technicians are ASE certified. Call A&A The Shop for an appointment. 562-3919 in Anchorage and 696-2096 in Eagle River. You're on with Fagan and Biegel on Hot Talk KOAN and online at 1080KOAN.com.
7:36 in the AM here on Dan Fagan, Glen Biegel on KOAN, KVNT. Streaming live, danfagan.us. Glen's off today. Our number 569-1080. 569-1080. Email me, danfaganshow@icloud.com. This, according to the Los Angeles Times, a search for a gunman believed to be involved in the ambush of 2 police officers in South Los Angeles last night has been called off. The search was called off just before 6 this morning, some 9 hours after 2 men opened fire on a police patrol car driving southbound on Hoover Street. Here's what Captain Lillian Carrizonda told the media. The L.A. shooting was a completely unprovoked attack. The 2 officers were responding to an unrelated call when they were fired upon by a rifle. They don't have a suspect as of now. Of course, this is in light of the attack in New York, killing the 2 police officers there. They were fatally shot in an ambush. Words matter. When Al Sharpton and Barack Obama and MSNBC and these far leftists portray police as racist, people take heart and they act upon it. I have no doubt, and I saw, this is inherent in the left. I saw even our local here, our local leftist, Ivan Moore, on his Facebook page has been posting things about police being racist. I understand that these leftists are sincere. They honestly do believe that we're a nation of racists. That's their heartfelt belief. And I understand that. That's where they come from. That's their worldview. The white man is the oppressor. That's always been their worldview. You cannot make it as a minority in the United States of America because of the oppressive white man. That's what the left believes. That's why they embrace affirmative action. That's why they embrace the welfare state. You cannot actually create wealth for you and your family if you're a minority, because the white man controls everything. That's the left. And if you are a white police officer and you shoot a black police or you shoot a black suspect, it's because you're a racist, because you're a part of the white oppressive majority. That's the belief, ladies and gentlemen. So you have to look at, and for those of us who don't believe we're a nation of racists, those of you who believe that we're all pretty decent, good-hearted folk, it's hard for us to understand and relate to the Ivan Moores and the Barack Obamas and the Al Sharptons of the world, because we don't believe the way they do. It's very difficult for us to understand where they're coming from. But what's not difficult to understand is that those who believe we are a nation of racists are very angry, and they feel very disenfranchised, and they're bitter, and there's a lot of hatred there. And it is beginning to get this. Well, we've seen it on a large-scale level in Ferguson, Missouri, where they burned down buildings and burned down businesses, destroying people's life work. And now we're beginning to see, at least in 2 cases, the targeting of police officers. And it's unacceptable. It's absolutely unacceptable. 569-1080, 569-1080. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. Let's go to Bruce. Bruce, you're on.
Hi, Dan. Nice show today.
Thank you.
Kind of nervous and don't really know.
Don't be nervous.
But I wanted to talk about, CO2 in the air.
Okay.
Okay, and I can agree that it could be a problem, but it seems like the only thing that everybody keeps talking about is getting rid of oil instead of taking CO2 out of the air.
Well, how do you take CO2 out of the air?
Well, we see it all around us. It's called plants.
Okay.
Okay, now, I was watching a show called Cosmos, and Neil Tyson in there said that years and years and, centuries ago, before we even came, that plants grew, but there weren't any bacteria or anything that ate the plants. So they were taking all the CO2 out of the air and putting it into plants, and we came up with something eventually called coal.
Okay.
Okay, and I imagine it came oil too.
Okay.
So maybe if we could start taking, plants, which I think we've got a few of around the world, and start taking them out of the air, we could start making our own coal or making our own oil and taking the CO2 out of the air. Maybe if we could, go ahead.
So your premise is that the fewer plants we have, the more coal that will be created. Is that right?
Well, no, the plants will go ahead and recreate themselves.
Okay.
And they'll take more CO2 out of the air.
Okay. So
you
want to create more plants.
I want to take CO2 out of the air.
Which plants do?
Plants do that, I think.
Yeah, they do. So you want to create more plants.
I want to create more plants, but I want to start taking the plants out of the system and putting them somewhere where they are out of the air, because there's bacteria now and all that take these plants as they fall. Leaves fall off trees, they hit the ground, the bacteria eat them, and they turn back into CO2.
Okay.
Okay, so if we could collect our leaves and our grass clippings and, anything called plant, and we could take the CO2 out of the air and put it somewhere where it's taking CO2 out of the air. Maybe we could use some of these fracked wells and we could push it down in there. And the bacteria down in the fracked wells could turn that stuff back into more methane for us that we could use later.
Well, I'm obviously way out of my comfort zone talking about all this, because I just have no idea how all this would work. Taking leaves from plants and putting it into these fracking wells. I mean,
It goes back to the premise of taking CO2 out of the air, which plants do, and taking them away from a system where they can turn back in.
But Bruce, isn't it true that at least in the United States, certainly, maybe not in China, but the air quality has never been better in the United States of America?
We've got wonderful air quality.
Right.
Okay.
So what's the problem?
As far as particulate matter. And the problem is that the government or somebody there is focused on taking oil out because it's putting CO2 into the air.
Yeah.
But we're not looking at ways of taking CO2 out of the air.
Interesting. All right. Well,
we could separate CO2 out of the air and push it back down in the ground. We do it. It's called a CO2 flood, and they use it in oil fields.
Well, Bruce, I appreciate your thoughts. Thank you very much. Something to think about. 7:44.
Fagan and Biegel on Hot Talk KOAN and online at 1080KOAN.com.
Grab your skis, wax your board, and hit the slopes. Alyeska Resort is open with limited terrain and hours. Check out their website, alyeskaresort.com, for all things mountain. Now that the mountain is open, that means that the Sitzmark is the place to be. Open every day with no terrain limits. Make it a mountainous New Year's Eve celebration this year at the Sitzmark. Party to the sounds of Wasteland Hop. Then January 2nd and 3rd, see the greatest jam band to ever come through Alaska, Leftover Salmon. PBR specials all week long. Tuesday, Absolute Trivia Nights with $100 up for grabs. During January, enjoy Absolute Vodka Moscow Mules for just $5 and $2 tacos. Check out thesitzmark.com for more information. Sponsored by Absolute Vodka, PBR, and the Odom Corporation. Alaskans serving Alaskans for 80 years. Always live responsibly.
There's a lot of so-called experts out there claiming to have the key to success in business for a price. Are you ready for real business advice you can trust without a fee? Then don't miss Getting Down to Business with David Weatherholt. Advice from people in the know. Technology, finance, taxes, and more. Business people helping business people take their skills and services to the next level. Getting Down to Business with David Weatherholt. Saturday from 8 to 10 a.m. on Hot Talk, KOAN, 95.1 FM and 1080 a.m.
Hey, it's Dr. Drew. A reminder that Loveline airs 10 to midnight and repeats midnight to 2. Twice as nice, second time around.
Twice is always as good as once.
I think that's right.
Wait, no.
Twice is better.
No, it's twice as good.
Be sure to check out the Hot Talk website, 1080KOAN.com.
It's Hot Talk KOAN, 95.1 FM and 1080 AM.
Tune into Loveline Sunday through Thursdays beginning at 10 p.m. on Hot Talk KOAN. You're on with Fagan and Biegel in the morning. Give him a call, 569-1080. KOAN.
$7:47. Welcome, Dan Fagan, Glen Biegel off today. Broadcasting on KOAN, KVNT. Also, Dan Fagan Show.us is where you can watch us on the internet. Listen to us live. Email me, danfaganshow at iCloud.com. danfaganshow at iCloud.com. We are streaming live, as I said, danfagan.us. Keith Montanak, our good friend of many years, he's a great mechanic. His team of mechanics over at Specialty Truck and Auto are the very best in the state. Trustworthiness is the word I think of when I describe Keith and his team. We're all kind of going in blind when we take our vehicle into the shop. Well, you don't have to worry about that with Keith Montanak, and especially Truck and Auto team. They're the very best when it comes to competency and trustworthiness. They're located right across the street from the Long Branch Saloon off of Abbott. I'm going to give you their number. Here it is, 569-1080. 569-1080. That's Keith No, that's not his number. That's my number. His number, 349-1637. 349-1637. My number, 569-1080. 569-1080. Here's some good news. Travel Leaders Group collected national data from more than 1,000 U.S. travel agencies to identify top cruise tourism destinations in the country between November 2013 and early December 2014. Alaska not only topped Vegas and New York City, but also popular spots like Orlando, Maui, and literally everywhere else. How about that? For the first time, Alaska topped the list of destinations with more than one-third of all cruise tours, including a stop here. Here's what Barry Lieben, who's the chief executive officer of the group that did the service, here's what he said. For the past decade and a half, Las Vegas and Orlando have jockeyed for the top spot in our survey. But now, natural beauty is a big draw, something travelers can agree on. Visiting Anchorage is now the top destination. How about that? How about that? We got so much going for us up here, folks. We really do. We're so wealthy. Resources, even just the tourism. So much beauty up here. And that's why I'm not ready to jump on the woe is us bandwagon for 2004, 15, 16, 17. I just don't buy it. Look at all the hotels we have here now. Look at just things are good. Tourism's up. We passed that crazy initiative with the head tax and boats. We started losing boats coming up here. Sean Parnell, fortunately for us, went down to the cruise ship industry in Miami and renegotiated all that. And what do you know? Tourism's booming once again in Alaska. So we can hurt ourselves with some greed's the thing. When Alaskans were sold that cruise ship initiative deal, it was a greedy thing. $100 head tax, what the heck? That's not going to affect me. I'm an Alaskan. I don't pay it. But you got a family of 5 wanting to come to Alaska. You add $100 head tax, or maybe it was 50. I don't remember which one, but either way, you multiply it by 5. That's a big deal. Families, they budget out a vacation, and you add $250, $500 to the price of a vacation. They're going to go, well, that's just too much. Alaska's too much. Maybe later in life, but we're not ready for it now. And sure enough, we saw a drop-off. Taxes deter investment. This is what I would do if I was the king. Every student entering the public schools monopoly on the first day of class would have to go up to the blackboard and write 100 times, taxes deter investment. And I would not rest until every child had that ingrained in their brain. Taxes deter investment. When you tax something, you get less of it. That would be the first lesson I would teach every student in the public school system. Wow, what a different country we'd have if people could get that. Now, the left, they don't get that. They don't get that. Well, they do get it. See, here's what I don't understand. Somebody explain this to me, please. 569-1080, 569-1080. You will hear Bill Wielechowski and Hollis French go on and on and on and on and on about how we can tax the oil industry through the roof. They're still going to invest money here. They'll argue that till they're blue in the face. They'll get angry arguing it. But yet, 10 minutes later, they'll argue with their same mouths, we have to give tax breaks to the movie industry in Hollywood, otherwise they won't come here and invest in Alaska. It's the same argument, different industry. They take a completely 180 different opinion. Now, ladies and gentlemen, please explain to me the hypocrisy there. Could it be they just don't like big oil? Because they understand the economics. They're arguing the exact same thing we're arguing for, but it's a different industry, so they apply a different standard. Come on now. Could it be they just love Hollywood and they hate big oil, and that's why they'll take a different side of the economic equation when it applies to big oil as to when it applies to Hollywood? Or any industry. They don't like the cruise ship industry either. Because those big boats, they burn fuel. And they dump waste. And that doesn't always help their God, Mother Earth. But the hypocrisy of not arguing literally the same point that we're arguing on the oil industry, and yet they don't see the hypocrisy there. Of course, the media does a column on it. So when the Wielechowskis and the Frenches and the guys like that said we should, and frankly the Bill Walkers, we need to tax the oil industry into oblivion, but yeah, we want big tax breaks for the movie industry. I'm sorry, I'm just not interested in what you got to say anymore after that. It's just too hypocritical. It's just too hypocritical. You've exposed the flaw in your position. So it's good news. We got a vibrant. I'll tell you, spent some time downtown this year. The merchants I spoke to said, yeah, well, it's been a record year for us. Foot traffic's through the roof. It's a great thing. It's exciting. Do not live in dread. Do not let the media and the naysayers tell you things are going to get bad before they get worse. We're going to be fine. We're so wealthy. Do you have any idea the budget problems most states are having right now? We've got, what is it, 75 million? I don't know how many $1 billion we got in the bank when you include the Provident Fund. And here's another thing, folks. Is it really going to be the end of the world if we go through a 5-year point of time where the oil prices are lower than normal and we've got to take 3% of the earnings of the permanent fund and get a smaller dividend check and use it to pay for government? Is that really the end of the world? Does the average Alaskan, are we willing to see major layoffs in education and law enforcement and this kind of stuff just so they can get a big dividend check every year? I have more faith in the average Alaskan than that. I think if we got to the place where our government services were so hurt by budget cuts, where that it would make us a less than desirable place to live, I believe most Alaskans would say, you know what, I don't need an $1,800 permanent fund check this year. $1,000's good. I really believe that most Alaskans would do that. Now, let me just say that I believe the state government is probably 40% bigger than it should be. And I think most Alaskans would say, cut the fat out of that government, and when you've done that, then come for some of my permanent fund check. But we're not going to let this government, we're not going to get to the point where there'll be kids starving in the street. We're not going to get to the place where there's no education. We're not going to get to the place where the roads don't get paved or plowed. We got so much money up here. And then when we get a Republican president in 2 years and he stops the war on coal, and we open up ANMR, and we get offshore drilling, and the mining industry is allowed to move on. Of course, we'll have to get rid of Bill Walker for that. He's anti-mining. But we've got so much potential out there. Don't believe the Brad Keiths of the world and all these guys who doom and gloom and, oh, it's going to get ugly. I'm telling you, folks, the bright side is so much more probable than the dark side. Yes, even on this 2015, where the price of oil is pretty low. 569-1080, 569-1080, that's the number. Glenn Biegel's off today. I'd love to hear from you. Give me a call, 569-1080. Current time, 7:59.
occasion to kick off Anchorage's 100-year celebration. Anchorage's New Year's Eve celebration is fun, family-friendly, and free event in Town Square, held on December 31st from 5 to 8 p.m. Enjoy live music by local bands such as H3 and the Spinners, street performers, food trucks, light shows, and more. Last but not least, the show-stopping fireworks spectacular that will end the evening with a bang! This premier New Year's Eve celebration is the only show in town with the official New Year's Eve fireworks. The fun begins at 5 p.m. in Town Square Park on December 31st and ends at 8 p.m. with the Anchorage Downtown Partnership Fireworks Spectacular. You don't want to miss out. For more information on this event, please visit anchoragedowntown.org or call 907-279-5650. Brought to you by Anchorage Downtown Partnership, Visit Anchorage, the Alaska Railroad, Linden Transport, and Alaska Integrated Media.
Not just talk. Hot talk. KOAN Anchorage. 95.1 FM. 1080 AM.
Fox News Radio, I'm Pam Puso. It's suspended for a second night, but when the search for a missing Air Asia flight resumes in the morning, it could be expanded. Fox News Radio's Alistair Wanklin live in our Asia Bureau.
Pam, the search is focused on the Java Sea, where the plane disappeared from radar. The pilot reported bad weather and asked to change altitude.
We don't really want to speculate until we find the aircraft. We know what went wrong, then we'll look into it.
That's AirAsia's CEO Tony Fernandez. The carrier is based in Malaysia. There's no connection to Malaysia Airlines Flight 370, which is still missing, but multiple nations today joined the search, and crews will resume that when it gets light here about 4 hours from now. Pam?
Thanks, Alistair. Special teams with Italy's Coast Guard are searching the charred interior of a ferry that caught fire in the Adriatic Sea. More than 430 people were rescued. 8 died. Efforts were hindered by terrible weather.
It takes so long to take people off by helicopter. Then they've got to take them somewhere, then come back and get some more. And all the time, they're in such awful conditions.
The captain of the ferry was the last to leave. A neighborhood in South Los Angeles, typically patrolled heavily by police, is now teeming with officers as a second suspect is sought in connection with a shooting last night. Authorities say someone fired a rifle at 2 police officers in a patrol car.
The potential for when you put on your uniform and your badge that you could be a target is always present.
LAPD spokeswoman Nuria Vangia, no one was hurt. 1 arrest has been made. Being remembered in Flagstaff, Arizona, 24-year-old Tyler Stewart, a rookie police officer, shot and killed by a domestic violence suspect.
He was cheerful, very intelligent, and we believe it's a huge loss of our community.
Flagstaff Police Sergeant Margaret Benson, Fox News Radio, fair and balanced.
Private mortgage insurance, or PMI, can cost you thousands. But with the PMI Advantage from Quicken Loans, you may never have to pay those expensive monthly mortgage insurance premiums again. Hi, I'm Jay Farner, president of Quicken Loans, and I'm excited to tell you that the Quicken Loans PMI Advantage is our lender-paid mortgage insurance program. You see, we pay the PMI so you don't have to. Make the smart call and talk to one of our home loan experts today at 800-QUICKEN. You'll learn how the Quicken Loans PMI Advantage can give you more options, more flexibility, and may save you thousands when you refinance. And for 5 years in a row now, J.D. Power has ranked Quicken Loans highest in the nation in customer satisfaction. And this year, for the first time, they've also ranked us highest in mortgage servicing. To learn more, call us at 800-QUICKEN. That's 800-QUICKEN, or visit us at QuickenLoans.com.
Visit jdpower.com for award information. Important terms and conditions apply. Calls for cost information. Equal housing lender licensed in all 50 states and MLS number 3030.
Disturbing development.
Best Split Firewood can deliver split firewood to your house today. And if you live in Anchorage, delivery is free. Wait, what did I just say? Delivery is free if you live in Anchorage. Wow, that's cool. Okay, back to the commercial. Best Split Firewood. Call now, 727-5928. That's 727-5928. And get 2 bundles of starter sticks with your order. Hold on, 2 bundles of starter sticks and free delivery in Anchorage? That's way cool. Best Split Firewood will deliver mostly all birch split and ready for your fireplace or wood stove, no matter how much you need. A quarter, half, or full cord. They have the best firewood in the city. And they'll even mix in some spruce if you ask for it. And don't worry if you just need a couple of bundles. Best Split Firewood has them wrapped and ready to go at half of what you would pay anywhere else in the city. Best Split Firewood. Call today for free delivery in Anchorage and 2 bundles of starter sticks. 727-5928. That's 727-5928.
Visit their new location at 2000 East 68th Avenue in Anchorage.
Hi, this is Brian Stan. I was a Marine Corps officer before becoming a UFC fighter. Military experience can add greatly to your life, as it has mine. The Air Force Reserve offers many part-time jobs in Alaska, which will allow you to continue your civilian career at the same time. You'll receive excellent training, educational assistance, and many other benefits. Join an outstanding team in the Air Force Reserve. For more information on the Air Force Reserve, go to afreserve.com.
This message is sponsored by the Air Force Reserve and aired by the Alaska Broadcasters Association and this local station.
When I grew up, I want to be a pro basketball player.
An elementary school teacher.
No matter what dream you choose or where you are in life, Country Financial helps you and your family grow your own way.
Or maybe a veterinarian.
A mom, a doctor, and President of the United States. Maybe an astronaut or, an Olympic gymnast.
You can grow your own way. We know some dreams take a little longer to achieve, which is why your local country financial representative offers helpful advice on everything from auto and home insurance to financial planning, education to retirement, and business insurance too, so that you can continue to grow and dream.
Or maybe an accountant, like my dad.
For more information, visit countryfinancial.com or call 1-866-COUNTRY. Country Financial. Grow your own way.
Do you remember that Beatles song? If the rain comes, they'll run and hide their heads. You know which one I'm talking about. Well, if that's you, and you're inside your home or office, it's time to call Earhart Roofing. Call Earhart Roofing for all your roofing needs. Flat or pitched, large or small, Earhart Roofing will do the job quickly, and they'll do it right. Earhart Roofing, big enough to serve you and still small enough to care. Call 345-5555. That's 345-5555. Hot Talk KOAN, man. You're on with Fagan and Biegel. 1080KOAN.com.
Well, good morning to you. It's 6 minutes past 8 o'clock on this Monday, the 29th of December, 2014. Won't be able to say that much longer. Hope you're having a good morning. Dan Fagan here. Glen Biegel off today. We're broadcasting on KOAN, KVNT, also streaming danfagan.us. Email me, danfaganshow@icloud.com. danfaganshow@icloud.com. Our number, 569-1080. 569-1080. That's the number if you'd like to reach me and be a part of the broadcast. We'd love to hear from you. Some heavy winds coming our way tonight for those up on the hillside in Turnagain Arm. Gusts of up to 80 miles an hour. They say the winds will hit at their highest speeds somewhere between tonight and Tuesday morning. High wind warning issued early this morning is in effect from 6 p.m. Monday to 9 a.m. Tuesday. It forecasts sustained winds of 50 to 65 miles an hour for Turnagain Arm and higher elevations with the possibility of gusts up to 80 miles per hour. So keep that in mind. 569-1080. I told you earlier in the broadcast I'd get to this. I don't really want to, but I know it's what a lot of people are talking about. Indonesia's top rescue officials say authorities believe the missing Air Asia jet is likely at the bottom of the sea based on radar data from the plane's last contact. The coordinate that was given in the evolution from the calculation point of the flight track is at sea. Our early conjecture is that the plane is at the bottom of the ocean, so says the head of Indonesia's National Search and Rescue Agency. But searchers still don't know where the plane is and may need help from other countries to help with the underwater search. How do you look for an airplane at the bottom of the sea? The search for Air Asia's flight resumed on Monday. This is the day after the commercial jet disappeared in Indonesia with 162 people on board. It's unclear if weather played a role. Rescuers say it could be a factor that influences how quickly they find the plane. Remember that they didn't find the last one. Large waves and clouds hampered by the search for the plane on Sunday. Air Asia says air traffic controllers lost contact with the aircraft at 7:24 a.m. yesterday, Singapore time. Just bizarre. That's two planes just missing? I mean, literally missing? I don't know. I never heard anything like that. Sounds like a movie, you know. There's some aliens coming around and just snatching planes and putting them in the mothership and taking them to their planet. It's just a bizarre thing. I thought we were much more sophisticated than that today. If I ship a package from Anchorage to New Orleans, I know where it is every step of the way. It's in Memphis, St. Louis. It's not going to be shipped. And we can't keep track of an entire plane with 160 people on it. I don't know. I don't understand that. I know that we're going to be, if you're a CNN fan, and obviously not many of you are, according to their ratings, this is all you'll be hearing about it in the next 2 weeks over at CNN. The media, they love to take these sensationalistic stories and run with them. It is strange. I can't. Can you imagine, though? I mean, that's the way you die. You end up at the bottom of the ocean. It's terrible. There's nothing more safe than flying. You just go. Here's what you do. You drive up to the flat top parking lot and just sit there and watch the planes landing at Ted Stevens Airport. It's just one after another. Boom, 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 boom. That's every day, 24 hours a day. Here's something else you do. There's a website. I don't remember the name of it. I think it's Flight Track something. And look at the real-time picture of all the planes that are in the air globally right now. And it's just... and all these planes are landing and taking off, no crashes. It's very safe to fly. I don't get the least bit worked up about flying. We've got it down. We've figured it out. Mankind has figured out how to fly and get people from point A to point B in the sky. It's much more dangerous driving than flying. Not even close. And I understand more people drive than fly, but even when you factor that in, there's just no comparison. Many, many more people, percentage-wise, who drive are injured or killed than fly. Not even close. Even when you factor in the fact that many fewer people actually fly on a daily basis than drive. So don't get all worked up. That's the one thing that the media will do. They'll get you worked up. We got our own problems. We got our own difficulties, our own things in life to struggle with. Last thing you need is to be force-fed fear and dread every day in the mainstream media. It is sad what happened to this pedestrian, though, here in Anchorage. Just walking along on, Hillside. She was in her 50s. One was killed in a vehicle pedestrian accident on O'Malley Road. This is on the Anchorage Hillside Sunday evening, last night. Accident happened about 5:38 near the intersection of O'Malley and Main Tree Drive. It was unclear Sunday night exactly what had led to the accident. APD spokeswoman Anita Schell initially said police were responding to a report of an injured person in the roadway. The woman appeared to be in her 50s, according to APD. The next of kin had not been notified. Police closed O'Malley Road between Birch and Hillside Drive Sunday evening as the investigation continued. That's sad. It's dark. I know there's a trail there, not a trail, sidewalk. What do they call it? Trail, I guess. All along O'Malley. Wait, let me think. No, you know what? Actually, there isn't. I'm thinking of Abbott. I don't think there is a space to walk on O'Malley between Birch and Main Tree Drive. I don't think there is. I know there is on Abbott. It goes all the way up to what? The little ski place up there. Actually, it goes further. Oh, that's a shame. You hate to see that. You got to be careful walking out there. Cars don't always see you. 569-1080. Glen's off today. Dan Fagan here on KOAN, KVNT. Streaming live, danfagan.us. Dan Fagan Show at iCloud.com. Love to hear from you. Dan Fagan Show at iCloud.com. 569-1080.
KOAN.
If you're ready for the movies, there's just one place to go. Check out movies8.com. It's showtime. Movie times, previews, and more. Get tickets, fancy, lots of information to explore. Great restaurants. Now you'll know just where to go. Before and after every show. Check out movies8.com. It's showtime.
Isn't it just amazing how many of these ancient Alaskan traditions one runs into? I, for instance, have discovered it is also an ancient Alaskan tradition to serve Alaska king crab and mandarin white prawns for dinner, not only at Christmas, but also on New Year's Eve. So naturally, crab and prawns are exactly what New Sagayan City Market are featuring as specials right now as we draw closer to the new year. Alaska Golden King crab clusters, just the legs and claws, only the parts you like best. Right now, just $15.95 a pound at New Sagayan City Market. And large white prawns, prized, it is said, by Chinese emperors, are just $9.99 a pound this week. Oh, those large, crisp Shingo pears are fast becoming a traditional food as well. Sweet and juicy Shingo pears are special this week at New Sagayan City Market, $6.99 a piece. However, they're so large, it might be advisable to bring a bigger gunny sack. From the butcher shop, it's fresh ground pork, makes glorious hamburgers, just $3.99 a pound. Happy New Year from New Sagayan Midtown and City Market, 13th and I.
Not all talk shows have the best guests, and not all talk shows have a good time. But then again, not all talk shows are Fagan and Biegel.
Get rid of the people who are causing the problem, Democrats.
If I didn't,
that's what we do. We get rid of Fagan. We get rid of Harry Reid. We get rid of Barack Obama. We get rid of Nancy Pelosi. That's how we change it. We don't get rid of the Republicans. Are you freaking kidding me?
Fagan and Biegel, weekday mornings from 6 to 9 on Hot Talk, KOAN. You're on with Fagan and Biegel on Hot Talk KOAN and online at 1080KOAN.com.
Well, good morning. 17 minutes past 8 o'clock on a Monday morning, December 29th, 2014. Our good friend Mike Daniels over at Country Financial, boy, they're really good. They're proficient at helping you with financial planning matters. You know, Mike Daniels and his team, country representatives here in the state, they have 13 locations in Alaska. Many Alaskan has gone to them and realized that there are things that they didn't realize about getting to a successful, worry-free retirement, having enough insurance, making the right decisions when it comes to growing your nest egg for not only your retirement, but for your kids too. You want to leave them something when you go on to the next life, making a better way for the next generation. That's really kind of what life's all about. And Mike Daniels and his team, that's what they do. They help people do that. If you call them and set up an appointment, I'm telling you, you will be thrilled that you did. You'll realize early on in the appointment, this was a good decision. Here's the number to call Mike Daniels and his team at Country Financial. 866-COUNTRY. 866-COUNTRY. That's Mike Daniels and his team at Country Financial. Our telephone number, 569-1080, 569-1080. Dan Fagan Show at iCloud.com is how you can email me. You know, I don't know what to say about this. There was another thing last night, another couple of police officers that were targeted in Los Angeles. Fortunately, they were not injured. Someone with a rifle took a shot at them while they were in their car. The police spokesman said the shooting was a completely unprovoked attack. Two officers were responding to an unrelated call when they were fired upon by a rifle. And, of course, you have the less than 2 weeks ago, 2 New York City police officers were fatally shot in an ambush. The hard left is promoting this police are racist versus the minority community narrative, and it's beginning to fuel the flames. There are a lot of people, ladies and gentlemen. It's easy. It's very easy when your life's not going so well. It's very easy to hear the reason your life's not going so well is because you're a victim, because you're oppressed, because the oppressive white man will not allow you to get ahead. Therefore, you are where you are because of the oppressive nation in which you live. That's easy to hear when you're not doing well in life financially, career-wise. It's much easier to hear than, I made some bad decisions, therefore I'm not doing well. And that's what the left preaches. You are where you are because of the oppressive culture in which you live. You can't get ahead. And that's the narrative they're preaching, and it's sticking. It's sticking. A lot of people in minority communities feel as though they believe it. They say, "Man, I can't get ahead. I don't have the right skin color." And then when you add in, not only can you not get ahead, it's dangerous for you to even live here, because if you're a minority and there's a white police officer who pulls you over, he's probably a racist and is going to try to hurt you. That's what they're Al Sharpton and Barack Obama, that's what they're telling us, ladies and gentlemen. And it's sticking. So you're getting a group of people in our country, not all minorities, certainly, but a good significant proportion of them, who are beginning to believe that not only can they not get ahead in life, but they're targets of a racist police force. And it's starting to piss them off. There's one guy who's kind of a hardcore leftist who believes this. He's a Facebook friend of mine, and he's always talking about the revolution's about to begin, as though the oppressed will rise up against the racist police force and will begin to retaliate. Well, 2 police officers in New York City are dead. A couple of them targeted yesterday in Los Angeles. Words matter. And you have to keep in mind, folks, this is language that is appeasing to those who feel sorry for themselves. There's nothing more self-gratifying, more comforting than when you hear your problems are not your own. You're a victim. You are where you are because of what's happened to you. Now, the problem with that, when you believe that you are where you are because of what's happened to you, that means you're stuck. You can't get out of it. Because if you are where you are because of the decisions you've made, then all you have to do is make better decisions. And you can get out from under your mess. But if you are where you are because of what's happened to you, there's nothing you can do about it. It's such a debilitating message. And those on the political left who preach it endlessly, I wonder, do they realize what they're doing to people who buy their message? And now we've got police officers who are literally having to watch their back because of this political narrative that's being promoted by the media, MSNBC, the hard left, our president, Al Sharpton. I've seen Ivan Moore here in Anchorage on his Facebook page. He's our big local leftist. He's talked a lot about police officers and racists. It's absurd. It's just absurd. I'm telling you. 54 years old. Of all the people that I know that are in my life, that I have a friendship with, that I'm even an acquaintance with, I personally don't know anyone who goes around operating with a racist heart. Now, I may be wrong. I may not know. Maybe they do. Maybe I don't realize it. But in all the years that I've been, I remember there was one guy, this guy named Ralph. I won't tell you his last name. He has to be dead by now. He was telling me one day, I was in my 20s. This is a long time ago, obviously. And he was talking about that people who are black. I think he said black people. He said black. I worked with him. He was an engineer at one of the TV stations I worked at, and he started saying some disparaging things about black people, and he said, "Well, they're cursed. God cursed them." I said, "Really?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "How do you know that, Ralph?" He says, "Because anytime there's a tornado that comes and hits a town, who dies?" I said, "I don't know, Ralph." He said, "Mostly black people." I said, "Well, why is that?" "Because black people live in trailers. And people who live in trailers die, so black people are cursed." Now, this guy was ancient, He just, and frankly, most trailer parks I've been to, it's been white people, but whatever. But that was, as far as I can remember, in my 54 years of being on this planet, that's really the only overtly racist comment I've ever heard anyone say to me, personally, as a friend. Now, maybe the left's right, and we are a nation of racists. I guess I just haven't met him yet. And Ralph, was not a friend. He's an engineer, and he's an old guy, and I'm sure there's probably racism was probably more entrenched in the older generation. But this narrative that we're a nation of racists, that white cops are automatically racist, it just makes no sense. It's not logical. And I know that most minorities don't buy into it, but those who do, it's become a movement. Well, it's become a way of thinking. I'll tell you what we should do, folks, that if we do catch, it was either the guy who killed the two cops in New York killed himself. But if we do catch the guy who shot at these two LA police officers, there should be an example made of them. There should be, literally, to target two men in uniform simply because they're wearing the uniform. Well, it's not only the most cowardly thing you can think of, but there can be no tolerance for that whatsoever. It's bad enough wanting to hurt anyone, but to pick two people who've decided to put themselves in harm's way by putting that uniform on every day and to target them, it's inexcusable. It's the most heinous of crimes. And I certainly hope they catch this guy. And I don't know if this is the end of it or if there'll be more of these targeting the police. But every time there's an incident like this, these people need to be made examples of in the most extreme way. I don't know how. I don't know the way to do it. But it's just not acceptable to have a country in which police officers are targeted randomly. We cannot tolerate that. We cannot tolerate that. And I'll be honest with you. The race baiters out there, it's disgusting what you're doing. It is disgusting. I understand it increases your power. I understand it increases your influence. But those who don't buy into your bullcrap message, we've got zero respect for you. And we're on to your game. 8:30.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel. Give them a call. 569-1080. KOAN.
Local news brought to you by Jansen Funeral Homes, Jansen's Evergreen Memorial Chapel, Jansen's Alaska Cremation Center, and Jansen's Eagle River Funeral Home. Jansen Funeral Homes, where just like family, they're there when you need them.
With KOAN News, I'm Chuck White. A celebration of life was held in Polson, Montana this weekend for Wasilla pilot Brett Thoth, who died when his small plane crashed in northwest Montana December 16th. He owned the successful Full Curl Aviation Service in Wasilla. A fund has been set up to assist his wife and 2 young daughters. Folks are pulling for the girl who had to have her legs amputated Christmas Day. That story from Ann Kenda.
Surgeons had to amputate the legs of 11-year-old Angelica Hackinson of Anchor Point after she was severely injured on Christmas when she was pinned against 2 vehicles as another driver was arriving to help after a truck wouldn't start. She had surgery again over the weekend to close up the amputation wounds. The brave girl is hospitalized in Anchorage in critical condition, but said to be in good spirits, and was more concerned about her mother when she awoke briefly and was told that her legs are gone.
That's your Hot Talk News update. Local weather is next.
High winds watch in effect late tonight through tomorrow morning for turning and arm in higher elevations. After a morning snow shower, it will be a partly sunny day today with a high 33. Then tonight, partly cloudy, low 25. Tomorrow, clouds will break for some sun. We'll have a high 35 and a chance for a snow shower tomorrow night, low 28. Wednesday, snow accumulating 2 to 4 inches, high 33. Hot Talk, breaking news, and the latest weather. KOAN 95.1 FM and 1080 AM.
Happy holidays from your family at Worthington Ford. We wish you and yours all of the health and happiness in the world. Please be safe this holiday season, like Grandpa always said.
Hey, if you drive, don't drink. If you drink, don't drive. We love you.
Dr. Sanjay Gupta.
There's a chemical leaching into your canned goods, and it could be a hazard to your health. I'm Dr. Sanjay Gupta, CNN's chief medical correspondent. For years, scientists have raised a red flag on a chemical known as BPA. It's commonly found in the lining of canned foods and drinks. Most studies show Americans have high exposure to it. In fact, the chemical has been found in the urine of more than 95% of adults. The latest study released found that drinking beverages out of cans lined with BPA can raise blood pressure 16 times compared to drinking from glass bottles. Previous studies have linked it to higher rates of asthma, obesity, and disruptions in brain development. Now, the Food and Drug Administration says it continues to investigate if it's safe. Scientists say given the large body of data proving it could be harmful to consumer health, it's always best to choose fresh foods over canned goods and specifically look for products that are labeled BPA-free. I'm Dr. Sanjay Gupta, helping you live a better life.
As a retired teacher, I look for ways to save money for the things I love, like traveling the world. Medicare plans change each year. Fortunately, my HealthMart pharmacist helped me understand my insurance, saving me money on prescriptions. And they can help you too. My pharmacist cares about my health and the things I love, whatever that might be.
HealthMart, caring for you and about you. Visit healthmart.com for the locally owned pharmacy near you.
When our water heater broke down last month, it took 5 hours for the plumber to show up, and he charged us a couple of $100 just to come out. And then it cost another $1,800 to put in the new water heater. I felt like I'd been taken. But what else could I do?
The smartest thing you can do is get a home warranty from American Residential Warranty. Their home warranties pay to repair or replace all your major appliances when they break. Just call 800-711-6816. That's 800-711-6816.
When I grew up, I want to be a pro basketball player.
An elementary school teacher.
No matter what dream you choose or where you are in life, Country Financial helps you and your family grow your own way.
Or maybe a veterinarian.
A mom, a doctor, and president of the United States. Maybe an astronaut or, an Olympic gymnast.
You can grow your own way. We know some dreams take a little longer to achieve. which is why your local country financial representative offers helpful advice on everything from auto and home insurance to financial planning, education to retirement, and business insurance too, so that you can continue to grow and dream.
Or maybe an accountant, like my dad.
For more information, visit countryfinancial.com or call 1-866-COUNTRY. Country Financial. Grow your own way.
Glen Biegel, you have beautiful teeth. I thank you, Dan Fagan. That's because my family and I have gone to Dr. Dan Kiley for years. I get scared at the dentist. Dr. Kiley knows people like you are afraid, so he creates a relaxed atmosphere at his office. People actually like going to the dentist for Dr. Kiley. I know it's important to have good dental health, and you look better with good teeth. And Dr. Kiley offers cosmetic dentistry along with general care.
Visit Dr. Dan Kiley at lakeotisdental.com. Call him at 562-9209.
Happy holidays from Specialty Truck and Auto. Please help me make sure our military members know how much you're appreciated this holiday season. While you're out Christmas shopping or celebrating with family and friends, join me in shaking the hand of a military member and give a heartfelt thank you each and every chance you get. If you happen to see a military member out enjoying a meal, you might consider quietly paying for their meal as a sign of your gratitude for the sacrifices they make for each of us every day, which allows each of us the freedom to celebrate this holiday season in whatever fashion we choose. Thank you from Specialty Truck and Auto.
You're on with Fagan and Biegel in the morning. Give him a call, 569-1080. KOAN.
All right, welcome back. Dan Fagan here, 8:36 in the morning. Glen Biegel's off today. Fagan Biegel on KOAN, KVNT, streaming live, danfagan.us. Also, we are taking your emails, danfaganshow@icloud.com. And you can call us, 569-1080, 569-1080. You know, Earhart Roofing, the folks over there, Frank and Becky, their son James, they're the best in the state when it comes to installing roofs, whether it's commercial, industrial, residential. Here's all you need to know. They install a roof for you. Are you ready? 50-year warranty. I don't know what else you need to know. 50-year warranty. Guarantee their work for half a century. I promise you, you'll be satisfied. Former Better Business Bureau of the Year. They can install a roof in 2 days or less. Always the lowest bidder. Earhart Roofing. Here's their number. Make an appointment. 345-5555. 345-5555. Earhart Roofing. Our telephone number here at the show, we'd love to hear from you, 569-1080. 569-1080. We were off last week. Glad to be back in the saddle today. I will tell you that it was one of the most politically tone-deaf things I've seen in a long time. Alaska legislators urging Bill Walker to immediately enact policies to cut the budget. Kevin Meyer, Mike Chenault, Anna McKinnon, normally Anna Fairclough, and Pete Kelly, Steve Thompson, Mark Newman all signed the letter, causing the governor, among other things, to implement a hiring freeze, restrict non-essential travel. Come on, man. Those legislators live on the road, and they're going to be hypocritical to say, hey, we need to limit non-essential travel. These guys do a junket a day. Somebody needs to check into that, by the way. Some of these junkets these legislators go on. I mean, literally, they'll take off and go to 3 junkets before returning home. I'm not kidding. But the point is, look, it's the Alaska legislature that's been spending us into oblivion. Bill Walker's been governor 20 minutes, and you're going to demand he starts doing stuff? Come on now. As they say on ESPN Sunday mornings, come on, man. Or that's Monday night. Come on, man. I appreciate the message, but when you've been in the legislature for as long as these folks have, and you've added so much to our budget, and then you're going to demand the governor who's been in office, what, a month? Come on, man. I'm just saying it's politically tone deaf. It's one of those things where you clearly threw the ball into the hands of the other team. Because all Walker has to say is, hey, man, I just got here. You're demanding I do something now to fix your mess? Come on, man. Who knows? Who knows what Walker's going to do with the budget? You know, here's what I can't get. It's going to be so exciting to watch, but yet it's also so important. So, you know, it's kind of like a hurricane. When one of the things that was tough as a reporter living in the Gulf South and reporting news down there, you get these hurricanes come your way, and they would get bigger, and so you knew you'd be going to cover them. You know, if I was working in Louisiana and there's a big hurricane heading toward Pensacola, well, okay, that means I'm heading over to the Florida Panhandle to cover this big hurricane. So there was part of you that would say, oh, man, I hope this thing gets big enough where I can go cover it because it's exciting covering hurricanes. But then you realize, oh, no, this is terrible. People lose their houses. It's one of those kind of things. You know, you try to realize, well, let's look at the big picture here. So it will be exciting to watch this Walker tightrope. But you also realize that the state's future could be impacted greatly by what he does. So it's not just you don't want things to get too out of control just because it's exciting. But Mr. Walker has got himself in quite a predicament. He has cozied up to really what is the biggest promoter of big government in the state, which are the labor unions. They want nothing but bigger government because most of the labor union bosses' cash in the way of dues comes from state employees. You're 20,000 plus. So Mr. Walker has to keep them happy. Then he's aligned himself with the left, the Democrats, and you know what do they want? They want bigger government. They want to transfer gobs and gobs of wealth from the private sector into the government sector because that's what they're all about. And then you got the price of oil where it is. So Mr. Walker's got himself quite a tightrope act here. And, you know, we call it the unity ticket, but let's be honest. This is just like when the Senate was a bipartisan coalition. That was all run by the Democrats. There was no unity there. The Republicans had no say. The Conservatives had no input. And it's the same with the unity ticket. So Mr. Walker doesn't really have any allegiance or owe anything to the Republicans. But he does have to keep the unions and the Democratic Party happy. But yet the price of oil is low where he can't fulfill their desires. I can't imagine what he's going to do. But it'll be fun to watch, and let's hope he'll do the right thing. I'll tell you, he apparently is going to tap commissioner of administration, the former candidate who ran against Don Young, Sheldon. What is Sheldon's last name? I can't remember. Sheldon something. Sheldon Fisher. That's right. Who's a good conservative guy, so that's encouraging. That's really the first encouraging appointment Mr. Walker's made that would show that he has any kind of balance in his administration. But it's going to be interesting to watch this man operate. It's going to be absolutely fascinating. And for those of us who try to follow politics and stay up on things, it's going to be interesting to see this man try to negotiate his way around all of the special interests that got him elected. So we'll be watching it closely, and we'll be sitting here keeping you posted. We're pulling for him, though. I'm telling you. Listen to me, ladies and gentlemen. I really thought that Sean Parnell deserved to be reelected. That was my opinion. But I'm telling you with all my heart, I am pulling for Bill Walker to do the right thing. I absolutely am. To stand up to the union, stand up to the left, do what's best for the state. I am pulling for him 100%. 844.
Fagan and Biegel on Hot Talk KOAN and online at 1080KOAN.com.
You know, after a hard day at work and then shopping for the holidays, the last thing you want to do is slave over a hot stove. Well, don't worry about it. Relief from this hectic time of year is just a jingle away. Call 333-8000 and ring in the holidays with the Sicily Season Greeting Special. 2 large 2-topping pizzas for only $11.99 each. So relax and let Sicily's deliver hot, fresh, delicious pizza, pasta, calzones, wings, and salads right to your door. It's fast, easy, and affordable. Call 333-8000 and ask for the Season's Greeting Special. 2 large 2-topping pizzas for only $11.99 each. For the only 24-hour-a-day delivery in Alaska, call 333-8000 or save 20% by ordering online at SicilysPizza.com. Best ingredients, best pizza, Sicily's. Wishing you and yours a safe and happy holiday season.
Are you unsure about how to use the health insurance marketplace at healthcare.gov? I was, until I went to a free educational session presented by a United Way navigator. I got questions about the Affordable Care Act answered, learned about options for coverage, how to use the online marketplace, and got assistance with enrollment. Now I'm signed up for the healthcare coverage I need. To hear more about these free sessions, call 211 or 1-800-478-2221.
Hey, if you think all you need to know about beer is how to pop the top off the can, go to worldclassbeer.com. There's a whole world of beer out there, and worldclassbeer.com can help you navigate it. Learn the difference between an ale and a lager at Beer U. Get descriptions of all the craft beers and learn why they're so different. And when you see one you'd like to try, the Beer Spy Locator can direct you to the closest store. Worldclassbeer.com, designed to help you get closer to your beer. Brought to you by the Odom Corporation. Always drink responsibly.
Hot Talk KOAN, man. You're on with Fagan and Biegel. 1080KOAN.com.
8:47 in the morning. Welcome on this December 29th, 2014. A couple of days left in 2015. Apparently, according to the National Weather Service, 2014 will be the only year, as long as they've been keeping records of this since the 50s, in which the high temperature will not go below 0 in Anchorage. 569-1080, 569-1080 if you'd like to join the broadcast in the waning moments. 569-1080. Let's go to Tom. Tom, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
How are you?
Well, I'm just doing great. It's a heat wave, you know.
Yes.
No days below 0 in Anchorage, and for a whole year, that's just a marvelous thing. I don't have to go to San Diego this winter.
That's right. It's beautiful.
Yeah. You've been talking about the governor a lot.
Yep.
And, and other times we talk about the mayor of Anchorage a lot. And, they're going to do this and they're going to do that. And lots of times I look at it, and because of the bureaucracy that we have in place and because of formula spending we have in place, how much difference can the governor or the mayor actually make? Take Dan Sullivan. And I really like Dan Sullivan. Done a good job as mayor of Anchorage, I think. But there's 18 departments in Anchorage, and 16 of them were run by the city manager. 2 were run by the mayor of Anchorage over the last 5-6 years. At the state level, you have entrenched bureaucrats. Sure, you have a commissioner.
Yeah.
You got a deputy commissioner. There's about 1,800 people that the governor could appoint if he decided to,
right.
But usually there's 300 or 400 that change hands.
Yes.
And other than that, these are entrenched bureaucrats that have been there for years and years and years, And do you think some pipsqueak's going to come in and tell them how to change things?
You know, I have a friend of mine who worked for the Denali Commission, and she doesn't any longer, but she said that she used to have to deal with state employees all the time. And she says there's just such a protection racket around them, and there's no firing them, there's no accountability. And even as a federal employee, her frustration of having to deal with the state bureaucracy, the way she described it, it was just amazing, Tom.
Oh, and and I have to deal with the state. From time to time, you sign a document or something.
Yeah.
And you ever signed a document where you changed the plat map or the plat, for your property?
Yeah.
And you have to sign within the lines, and some people kind of scroll their signature.
Right.
And you can't, if you scroll outside the line, it costs you an extra $35.
Oh, my goodness.
and it's a huge,
and
it's a big deal.
That's amazing.
And there's hundreds of different examples of that. Here in Anchorage, if you do anything in a right-of-way, you have to have a right-of-way permit.
Yeah.
Yep. And we have Shaman, and we have Warning Lights of Alaska and a couple others that they do the right-of-way barricades that you see around town when they close a road or close part of a road.
Yep.
And they really know what they're doing. But what they do is they fill out a form, and you have to take it over to City Hall, or not to City Hall, but out to Elmore Road, and you have to present it to the right-of-way clerk, and then he has to take it upstairs to the traffic engineer to have him sign off on it, and then it comes down to the clerk again, and then it's approved, and then Shaman can put up their barricade signs. But I have never seen them ever change the plan that Shaman or Warning Lights of Alaska submits. So one morning I was out there because I was the owner of the business, and I mean, we had to have this permit, right?
Right.
And so somebody called in sick, and there's 18 business owners or managers standing around for their right-of-way permits for 4 hours.
Wow.
Okay, what did that cost industry in the municipality of Anchorage? And when we got our permits, absolutely nothing was changed on any of them. But we had to wait, so here's 18 people times 4 hours times probably a couple $100 an hour.
And Tom, the story you're telling can be retold a gazillion times.
Thousands of times.
So
it's over and over.
All right, so here's my question.
Sure.
It seems to be the case you present, which I think is dead on accurate, is that we have a government full of people who are forced to justify their position at all costs, even if it's not needed. My question to you is, how do you gut this? How do you clean this up? Is it the unions? What's the deal here? How do you fix this?
I think the first thing is that you find somebody like Dan Coffey to run for mayor, but not Dan Coffey. You find somebody that will run on his dollars.
Okay.
And say, when I become the mayor, I'm not going to take a salary.
Okay.
I'm going to work for free.
Right.
So you run on your dollars so that when you become the mayor, you don't owe patronage to anybody.
Gotcha.
Because like the mayor, he'll appoint, about 400 people?
Yeah.
Maybe up to a maximum of 800 people,
okay.
Right? But if you didn't owe patronage to anybody, then you could actually clean it up.
Okay.
You could say, no, I'm not going to hire him because he's a Republican.
So it's doable.
It's doable, but nobody.
But where do you start? Because you can't fire government employees.
You can fire a lot of the heads of departments.
Okay.
And the mayor, one thing he does do is he does have control of the budget, even though most of them don't use that very much.
Right.
So, the Anchorage Assembly could scream and holler and pontificate a lot, but you just quit funding things.
Now, what about you say Coffee, but not Coffee? Are you saying you don't think Coffee could do it, or
no? Because he won't use his own money to run.
Now, what about Halcrow? Because the word is today that Halcrow may run. What's your thought on him?
Oh my God! He's more Democrat than a Democrat.
Sure.
I think it would be horrible to have him as the mayor.
Because
personal opinion.
Because I know he was part of the. He was
the Gang of Four down there in Juneau with Murkowski and a couple others.
With the income tax.
And they wanted an income tax and they wanted a POMV and they basically wanted to rape us and rape the state.
Yeah.
You know, we don't need that in government.
Yeah.
What we need is somebody that can really look at each line item in the budget. And and I've been going through the budget since the 70s.
Yeah.
And just the waste is just mind-boggling what the waste is. And you have to have somebody there that can go through, like in my business, I do about 6 jobs, right?
Yeah.
And I look at every dollar. If you had somebody like that, and I've seen government contractors that have been very good, big contracts, where they have to scrutinize every dollar and make sure they save every dollar possible. And that's the kind of person you need in the mayor's office so that you can say, wait a minute, we're going to get this back on track. And then anybody that says, no, I'm going to protect my department at all costs, you fire them. And, I'm sure you can't fire the union people, like you said.
Right.
A lot of them are protected.
Yeah.
But you can fire Jerry Weaver.
Yeah.
I mean, look at planning out there. In 2000, we passed the city plan, the 2020 plan.
Right.
And we were supposed to have new Title 21 in a couple of years. Took us 15.
Wow.
And the new Title 21 was provisionally approved. And right now, if you're a builder, you can either go on the old one or the new one. Nobody's picked the new one yet because it's so bad.
Wow.
Well, okay, so guys like me, I had some lots over in 36. I was going to build a building.
Yeah.
And about 2000, I was going to build a building. And he said, no, wait, because we're going to do this new Title 21. You have to wait,
Seriously?
Well, 15 years later, I sold the lots.
Unbelievable.
Because I said, and I had money in the bank.
Yeah.
Going to put people to work.
Sure.
Going to build a building. Going to add to the tax base of Anchorage. And planning says, oh, no, you don't want to do that.
What would happen, Tom?
Yep.
If a media outlet like the Alaska Dispatch or Channel 2, any of these guys, would make it a real effort to document the inefficiencies of government. I know they're not interested in covering those stories. They really don't even touch them normally.
Are you kidding Alice Rogoff?
Yeah.
I mean, Dan, come on.
Yeah.
She's, you look under liberal in the dictionary, and there's Alice Rogoff's picture.
Yeah.
And then you got, another media outlet here in town. They hired everybody from out of state. They don't even know how to pronounce Eagle River yet.
Yeah.
And then Channel 2, KTUU,
right.
Who you work for, they're very liberal.
Yeah.
I mean, great group of people over there.
Yeah.
But I think they have their marching orders.
Yeah.
And so, the Dispatch, before Alice Rogoff got involved, they were actually doing a pretty darn good job.
Yeah.
And then she got involved, and they just did a hard 180.
Sure.
And, I don't know. About 6 months ago, I just quit going to the Anchorage Assembly meetings. I just kind of, I think it might be bigger than I am, or I'm kind of sitting back looking at it and saying, how can I change this? And it's going to be really